Namaskar everyone and welcome to the day 2 of this 5 days Project Yug Parivartan Global Summit 2022. Let us now formally begin the speaking sessions, and for this I would like to invite my colleague Mr. Amit Agarwal to introduce our first speaker of the day.
Yeah, thank you very much. And I hope all of you witnessed and experienced the day 1 also of our summit. So we have got 4 more speakers today in the next few days as well. And I take this immense pleasure to introduce our first speaker of the day, which is Ms. Nidhi Behl Vats. Nidhi is a PR expert, a motivational speaker, an author, a social media influencer, and a strategic consultant. She's a determined lady who has founded the platform storyofsouls.com. This platform is appreciated by All India Radio and is Google News certified. Presently, Nidhi has been working digitally from home for past 10 plus years with proven results and a successful career graph in PR, branding, and digital marketing. As a speaker, she was invited by Lakme Academy, Symbiosis Institute, to various conferences and Power of Thoughts, personal branding, how to use social media for branding, PR and social media, and what should be your approach to deal with social bullying and peer pressure. Now, this is interesting. Founder calling with a digital storytelling venture, which has helped several people getting recognized personally and professionally. She's awarded as Wow Miss Social Media Inspire, featured by several magazines, received an award by Her Story Times and National Excellence Award. She is mentor for India's top healthcare college for startup. She's today leading the way as a social media influencer, motivational speaker, mentor, and entrepreneur. Previously, she had a fortuitous career transition from healthcare administrator to a content strategy consultant. She was associated with international and Indian magazines and has written for Amar Ujala and Chandel Industries. She is an inspiration for lots of homemaker moms and influencers too. Indeed, she's leading the way with grace and aura. So, ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming our first speaker of the day 2 of this 5 days Project Yug Parivartan Global Summit 2022. Thank you. Over to you.
Very good evening. Thank you so much for such humble introduction. Really delighted to be here. Such an eminent platform this is. Glad to be associated with so many people and to share some of my thoughts, which I find could be useful to have a better golden era that we are all aiming at the moment. Much required by the world at the moment. And what I feel is if we really want the globally world to do something better about it, it will have to begin from every individual. So when individual has to keep on working towards itself, then only one day we will see a change in a global manner with everyone around. And the second reason why I choose that one should focus on oneself is if you are growing in a better manner, in a positive aspect, the other person will also get influenced. So this could be a stage where you become an inspiration for another person when you are towards a goodness, towards your positivity. The rest of the other people will come towards you and they would like to understand what is your philosophy, how are you doing better, things growing better around you. So that begins from one person, and that's how you spread your positivity all around. May I just pray that this positivity is infectious for everybody in the world around, that we have more peace, humanity, and love in the times to come. So that is the basic crux of my presentation for today. And do you know that irrespective of the color, this is I'm talking in a global aspect altogether, irrespective of your color, your nationality, or the religion, there is something which is common in every human being. Wherever they are staying, it could be any of their strata, any of their level of thinking, level of their working, irrespective of all of it. What is it that's common? If the audience have an answer, I will be really happy to hear some of it in the chat boxes. Otherwise, I'll give it in another minute or so. Okay, so meanwhile, audience is typing, let me give my options. They are about the happiness, the birth and the death, the blood, the blood group, and entirely the blood which we have within us, the hunger, the thirst, and the material possession. That's what it is common. There are tons of other things, and I think you understand on what line of thought process I'm talking about. You may relate very well to all of it, but that's what is common, irrespective of whatever we are fighting for in the religion, in the name of standard of living, in the name of money that we are owning, or the possessions that we have. These are the things which will remain common anywhere in the world. And there are more, which is power, possession, anger, war, the darker side of it, control, pain. So earlier I talked about some of the positive things in the world. This is also common, and the negative side is also common. You cannot speak that language, but these all things, these feelings will remain common in you, irrespective of your country or your standard of living. So now there's another thing which is common, and that's where we all need to work if we really want to come on a one common platform, and that's the human mind and the process of the thoughts that we have. It gets processed, grilled into your mind every minute, every second. It is happening. You may recognize, acknowledge, or you may not, but this is happening. So I think we all need to understand that there is a human mind we all have, and there are thoughts. It is also there with those whom we say that they are mentally retarded. They do have a mind, and trust me, they do have their own thoughts and the processes. So, and the mind is made up of what is it that you are giving it. So every mind at the time of birth is almost blank. It's absolutely a blank sheet. What do you want to give it? It will feed, and that's how you grill and you process things in your mind. If it is love, it will take love and it will reciprocate love. But if it is hate or a jealousy, then those negative aspects will reciprocate, process in your mind, and will reciprocate in the entire world. So the choice is yours. And we all need to understand that every choice that we are taking is taking you towards different level of it is a better or it is a inferior. I do not know. This is up to you to choose, but it is taking you somewhere. We don't understand, we don't realize, but it is taking you everywhere. Whether you don't say anything, if you are not saying anything, that also means that you are not choosing anything. That's also an answer. So whatever is your choice today is going to be a reality that is going to be for tomorrow. So we are talking of a global world. So are we thinking globally? Are we still above to all of these our basic thoughts of fighting, anger, jealousy, competition, or are we above all towards one common goal that we really wanted the world to have? So that should be the thought which we need to take home today. So what do you choose? Your choices does matter. And what thoughts are you growing in your mind? That's what I said is really vital. I'm not saying you have to conquer the world tomorrow or today evening you go and be the global leader, but whatever are you growing, these seeds are there. Believe it or not, but these seeds have to become plants and tomorrow a tree. I don't know whether that tree of yours is going to be in a year's time growing or it is in a 10 years time to grow. That's up to you to decide how do you want it. But it is growing. Definitely, whatever you are putting into your mind, if it is your competition, if it is your hunger, if it is your jealousy, everyday struggle, everyday stress that you're putting in, that will grow and multiply for sure. So what is my thought for the world is what today I am slightly going to give a blink of it, I'll rather say. So where the entire world is, I wanted one country and the name of that country, where entire world I'm saying can be one country, and the name of that country is healing. I think what is one thing which world need this time is healing. If we all are healed human beings, trust me, we will be so humble, so kind, and we will be so supportive to each other. There will not be any war at all. So that's what I want. I dream of a country where we can all heal and we all stay as a happy human being. and the entire world follows one religion. Trust me, I'm talking of a religion here, and the name is peace. If all the religions convert themselves into peace, that should be the name of the religion which we should be carrying with each other, rather than the names that we have prevalent today in the world, where the entire world accepts one skin color, and the name of that skin color is love, and where the entire world accepts one currency, and one currency can be any currency. Of course, we are upgrading to something new. That could be one thing, or you can visualize whatever you wanted. But if we have one country, one religion, things will be like in one currency. Um, can you think of a world where all the world is one country and we do not have to pay the foreign trade? I don't think so. The UN have to work too hard for the peace. When the entire world is one country, we are not talking of the any two, three, four religions. Maybe all the the scarcity in one country can be made very much better, or can be justified or being managed by the another country who's having more of it. So I think these are the things by which we all come together. And I think I have read it very at several places. It will be it discovery or be it some theory that the entire world once, when it originated, it was one. The entire mass of the land was one. It was not bifurcated. And gradually, as this has got bifurcated, we have different countries today by with different names, different religion, everything different. But those crux has been one when we actually originated the existence of a human life, a human race, and the breathing and the senses and the conscious that we had was that only. So I really dream of the same one country where everyone is living in a brotherhood. Things will be so easy. I think we will have best of every world. There is no developing world, developed world. Everything will be equal. I think we will sort out a lot of problems that are today present. And the anxiety that the world has about something unknown, fear is there. So that's what I think. So, okay. Maybe you may have some different thoughts. If you have some different thoughts about whatever I have told you up till now, you can put in the chat box and maybe I'll take it at the end of the session if you guys have. And yeah, the most problem thing is that we think that it is not possible for a common man. I do not agree to it. This is absolutely wrong, because we common men are the ones who give voting. When we vote, then it is cumulative result of that voting when we have one person who becomes our leader. So this is the power of a voting, which starts from one vote. There are a government and the governances wherein by few marginal votes people win or people will get defeated. So of course it is you only, the common man. Understand, realize the power of being you. And what am I going to say you next will convince you even more of whatever I'm saying now. Yes, I say it is very much possible. And if you want to ask me how, only a common man can bring a change. Do you remember our independence? If the audience today we have are all Indians, so then they would have witnessed a time when we all Indians were fighting together towards one common goal. That was the time when we have never thought of it that one someone who's having any, what is there in my house? Is my child educated? What is my standard of living? Do I have the position of materialistic world around me? So if all of those thoughts were given a second priority and the only priority that we had was the independence, then definitely I just feel that we will be able to achieve it now as well. Now the thing is, we wanted the entire world to come together, and that beginning has to come from all of these people who are of these synced kind of thought processes. Now we're not talking of anything where your country nationality is. These things were given to create some law and order and some discipline when we began the civilization. We all have read that. But today, if these things are not able to make us live in a peaceful manner, then maybe can we have a different kind of a thought process for us in the entire world, so that we will again be able to live in peace? Can we have these different names for the religion, for the name of the country? Things have to change. So this is my one perspective of changing or bringing an entire shift altogether in this world. So now I'm not talking only of India, I'm talking of the entire world altogether. And so that was a choice of every common man. Now, if I move on and then I talk of some other countries like Africa and like I think Singapore, and there are some other countries which have lived a life of non-dominance, and they have been ruled over by some or the other countries or the governance which denied their right for freedom. So they all have the similar history which we Indians had. So they all came together, worked together, fought together for a thought which they all wanted to become a reality for tomorrow. They never thought of it, what is their 5 year goal. They never thought of it, how long it's going to take. They never had the resources. They never had such meticulous planning, the gadgets, or whatever. No, none of it was there. They could do it at that time. Now we are way too ahead. I think when we are progressing and we are way too ahead, are we actually moving on in the right direction? I don't know. That is the choice of every common man that we all have to make today. I'm not saying that we have to make this thing a better world for the generations to come, but I think for us to exist in a peaceful manner at the moment, it is a requirement for us. If we really are so possessive about, money and the possession, I think we really need to be possessive about our own peace, our own freedom, our own thought processes also. So I feel this can be a one way towards that also. So in the past, we all had made this thing possible very much. And now is the time I really want you to all think about when entire world has to come together and think globally. Maybe they can act locally, but they all have to come and think globally in terms of all of it, that I really want things to move in a different manner altogether. This will require a proper training or proper mind shift that we all have to carry. And this is my way of doing it, and one seed that I'm trying to, spread around with everyone. Up to you. You want to catch it or you don't. Your choice. Absolutely your choice. But all I feel is, especially after this COVID, whatever pandemic and whatever losses that we all have faced, be it financially, be it losing of someone close life, or somebody has actually lost everything, including their money, their peace of mind, their business, their family, loved ones, near ones, or maybe the place where they have been living. This was not less than a pralay which we actually have read of over these many years. I could not think of this as anything less than that. So I think more of the healing has to come in. We all have to come together in a way, the way I think we did it for the COVID times. Every common individual, they were not out of their houses, but they were still eager to ways that we can. I think that was the best time when we have utilized the technologies, the human brains, and any other such things which we today think is a disgrace or it's not right for us. But then we all have been able to bring the strengths from the worst of the worlds together. I don't know has that been done in every other country or not, but all of it has been done very meticulously within our India. I think that was the first time in my entire life. I'm not so old, but whatever is my time span, I have seen people not asking for their religion. People don't ask for the, are you going to give me back? People were not helping with any of these intentions at the back of their mind. Will I be getting promoted? Is this person going to give me back money? Is this person going to come and help me back if my family needs it? No. I think we were all too enthused to save humanity at the best. I think I'm not wrong in that. We have done that. And that's the reason, whosoever we could save, we have tried our level best. We all have to try our level best. Results have never been in our hands. This has never been. Be it the election results, be it the results of whatever success or whatever you want, your promotions, or you have a job guarantee tomorrow. Results have never been in our hands. But what is short we have done was the efforts. And I think that was the time when we have seen people putting in the efforts, best of their capacities. They don't even have money, but they were really into to work it, maybe by sharing it through the WhatsApp messages, maybe just by giving the number of that person who could be of some assistance, or sharing their money. Some people had money, and trust me, they have donated like anything, like mad. This is apart from what Ratan Tata would have done. Of course, Ratan Tata has that capacity, that stature to do it, and he has done that. But apart from it, there has been the common man who was actually working, maybe giving lifts, maybe giving their oxygen, maybe sharing, caring, helping towards it. Was some of those best of the things which I have seen all around, despite of the chaos that has been there. But I think one thing was very sure, that we all were determined to save the humanity, to save as many humans as we can, as we could, to bring that humanity back. So, with those thoughts and with that things which we all have experienced, and we are alive today with all of these experiences, let's shape it in a better manner with times to have a better world around us. Tomorrow we all want to live in a very peaceful manner. So, that could be the similar model we can still continue doing. Maybe we don't have that much of time today, but maybe one gesture still, or maybe two, three gestures, maybe half an hour of time to share meaningful post about, if your friend or if somebody in your network or you don't even know is looking for a job, and please pass it on. The person is in need. I think that's what we can do. 10 or 15 minutes of help can actually bring a whole lot of difference in the world. And you don't know, trust me, you don't know that family, that one person has a burden of how many families, or how big family members are there in that family, who all will be fed just because of your one message as a sharing. Trust me, things will change drastically if we stop expecting while we are helping. So this is not about the religion, whatever that we have. I trust me, I believe, I'm a very spiritual person. I'm not blaming anyone, but in every religion there are good people, and in every religion there are people who are different, who have a different thought process. So today I'm talking of a religion where the thought process is all about positivity, humanity, is what I feel will bring a difference altogether for everybody. And I respect all religions. But this concept is a thought process that I really want everyone to have. I myself have felt this when I have lived abroad. Trust me, if you move out of your cocoon, your own country, and you start living in some another country, and the somebody person who's next door is a Korean, or could be a Chinese, or could be anybody. That person is your neighbor, and then they will come ahead and they will make you help. And whenever you need something, or you want to understand the system, the mechanics, oh okay, how do I connect with somebody, I mean, what is the way, do you have intercoms, such basic things, where do you find the pool, do you have it or not, very very basic things, the market nearby, these things will or get communicated by the nearby neighbor who does not know you, but just staying nearby, he is there to help just as a human. So one thing which I felt was, maybe we all need to live a life of an expat, of an NRI, to understand the real meaning of a humanity. maybe then we understood that that is where which is beyond the religion, and this is only a common man who has uplift another human in terms of humanity, and that's what they are doing. That person will not know you. Maybe the next second day, this has happened with me, the next second day that person left from that place, but he shared all the information that whatever he has acquired in these many, whatever was his time period of tenure of a stay of whatever job he was in and whatever corporate he was working with, none of it I was aware of. But the next day, he just pushed everything under my door and he just left. Whatever information could be helpful, he created it all in English on handwritten, whatever way. The help for rescue, for this is the number, for this purpose, for that purpose. You won't find maids easily. You seem to be an Indian. He tried to just help me, share it across, and he just went. I don't know who he was, but he helped. Why did he help? He just helped as humanity. So I think we all need to see a different side of world. Maybe if we all live as an expat, until unless because this is mostly said that until unless we experience things in our own way, in our own experiences, we don't change. Experiences changes better than the theory or whatever lecture or the sessions that are happening has been my experience. So maybe that could be the thing. I don't know. Everyone has their own way of changing, learning, bringing a change, whatever. So we don't have to wait for someone to come. You yourself is a hero. If you are helping in whatever capacity that you can, is good enough. Keep doing it. That's how you are keeping humanity alive. You are keeping positivity alive. But then don't go back in the night and think, oh, I helped this person, but he did not help me back. No, that's not the way. Please stop thinking on those parts. Your good positivity vibrations are going, and you don't know who's helping. Like I shared an example, I don't know that person, but he came, he helped, and he went off. Maybe because of the time, because I have helped somebody because of not that intention, but that help will come to you. Trust me, when you actually need it. You don't know it, you don't have anyone known around, that help will come to you to that particular moment, but that universe knows it and you just need to trust it. That's it. So all I say is that life is one, let's make it meaningful. And I'm really grateful that listening to me was really nice thing for me to hear you. And I think we'll take some question answers, and there are some chats also around, so let's look into it one by one. Thank you so much once again for listening.
Thanks a lot, Nidhi ji.
Yeah, thank you
Yes,
so much.
indeed, there are few questions which have come up. So I'll just quickly put them to you. So one question that has come from Mr. Professor Name Kumar Jain
Yes.
is, what is most needed for my nation, Bharat Rashtra, how it can be put into practice and attained?
Yeah, I think this is very well asked. We all do it because if it is a Bharat Rashtra, we all know that Bharat is good for, being in goodness. So I was just thinking while preparing this presentation is that why goodness do not last long and the negativity spread faster and stays for long. And thought process of positivity takes few years for anyone to inculcate. There are two, three things which I thought of it. One is that, a good human won't fight. They're happy and content with whatever that they have. On the other hand, somebody who's bad has a, hunger to make it big, make it large. They have their greed. The word is greed. And they want to live a life, king size. So somewhere what I feel is being a good human, do you want to resonate with those thought process? I think somewhere, yes, we need to understand that if we really want humanity to be alive, we need to think of, like the soldiers does. What the soldier does, he think that I will not die until unless I have defeated my, defeated my enemy. He stays. He fights till that last breath. So if every good human has that kind of a spirit within themselves, maybe humanity or a goodness will stay a little longer. than what we expect. And maybe we are way too determined to bring our goodness back. Because what is happening today is, I meet lots and lots of good people, but what they always say is, I don't want to come into limelight, Let me be staying wherever I am, I'm happy, I'm content. But the day they start understanding that this goodness has to fight with bad, that day we will have a different perspective of that goodness, And I think that determination is needed today in every good soul who's living is existing in this on this universe, be it everywhere, anywhere. So I think that's one thing. All the good souls have to have a determination to come forward. Is what my answer to it.
I completely agree with this. As people who are associated with Project Yug Parivartan already know that we have classified human evolution into 6 layers: S1, S2, S3, and so on up to S6. And the trait that you have cited about is S3 trait. It's like people who are not coming forward to take the responsibility and accountability for their role in the world are the ones who are in S3 layer. That means they are into their comfort zones and they don't get the trigger for the next layer of evolution. And it is this point at which the gurus should come forward and help people elevate, because these S3s, if they are not getting the stimulus to go into S4, then it is the responsibility of the gurus to come forward and give them that stimulus. So
I think I just change some names. Gurus is something today is not taken very well, to be honest. I am just saying that, I'm just a thought-provoking person who's just, grilling all the time with some different thoughts to make it a better world. So I'm a fighter. I say this. And I think an influencer is a right word, is a trending word these days. A lot of people connect to the influencers and you're boom. Now celebrities are also gone. So I think we need to keep upgrading these jargons, these new words. Maybe we sync well with whatever you are saying. The thought process is absolutely same, is what I really wanted. But maybe we're just, I don't know, maybe we are just making it a
I would just like to add something to it, that there are words who lose their meaning in transit, but at the same time, as the change is the only constant, so we can recover their meaning and re-establish that in the collective human consciousness. So guru is a very important word, carries a lot of meaning within it. So it means the higher energy potential. Guru and Laghu. Guru is called as higher energy potential and Laghu is called as lower energy potential. So the constant energy transformation from Guru to Laghu should continue to happen. And that's where we need this terminology to be alive. Yes, with a renewed meaning, so that people can understand the real essence of it rather than just the literal meaning.
Absolutely.
And regarding the consciousness, we are giving this new terminology, S1 to S6. So people within the Project Yug Parivartan, they talk in this language. And just by saying S3, they will understand everything about a person and the behavior that is coming.
Absolutely. Right? Yeah.
So a lot of work has to be done by influencers, no doubt about it. But not every influencer can be a guru. Right. So they may be force multipliers for expansion of our space of influence, but they may not be wise enough to extend our space of accountability.
Absolutely. Absolutely true. But everyone has their own role to play,
Correct,
so that's where we need to connect with everyone.
And that's where we call it as a complementary energy. Everyone is a complementary energy to each other. And the New World Order name that we are giving is Wise World Order, WISE, which means Worldwide Integrated Services Ecosystem, wherein everyone is serving everyone else and everyone is getting served by everyone else.
Absolutely.
That should be the level of integration and oneness we should aim for.
Absolutely. So true. So true.
It was really nice. And several of the things that you are talking about is syncing very well with Project Yug Parivartan Synergy Platform. And we would love to see you becoming associated with Project Yug Parivartan Synergy Platform in some way or the other, wherever you feel that there is a value addition.
Definitely, we can do that. That's, I think we'll take it ahead in a different manner.
Right. In fact, I would like to invite you for the last session on 8th June, wherein I will explain about the various ways through which people can become part of this grand platform being made.
Great. We'll be there. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot. Thank you very much for the wonderful session. There is one question which has come from an audience.
Yes, please.
I'm just reading it verbatim, so you can respond to it. Does expecting help and support from friends and acquaintances during the time of distress make someone weak?
No, I don't think so. It is your perception about help that needs to be changed, because I don't know, have you heard of very basic story in the times when there was a lion and he was trapped in a in what do you say, on a cage, or jaal mein fas gaya tha wo, and it was the mouse, very small mouse, who came for help, rescue, cut the entire net, and the lion was free. But lion became indebted to that mouse forever, for the rest of his life, and he actually granted him his life. However, the lion was hungry, but he granted his life because he came forward and helped, despite of thinking that what will be the result. So I think this story very beautifully explained 2-3 things that we have to do good despite of whatever consequences could have been. And we should not overthink too much. And if the mouse would have kept overthinking, like what will happen, will the lion kill me, I should go, why should I bother, that's what the scenarios mostly today are. So if those things cannot hamper you, then definitely help is a very beautiful thing. And we all say that we all humans are social animals who require help. Knowingly or unknowingly, it is the help that is coming back to you. You need to understand that, and it is very beautiful thing. For the humanity to still be alive, we need to help each other. So we should,
because if we are talking about the revolutionary people who help, who extend help to other people, so if there is nobody to receive the help, then the transaction will not be complete.
yes,
So yes,
so
receiving help is not a sign of weakness. At times we need help from other people who are anyways our own extension only.
Yeah, but I think one thing I would like to say is that people don't understand whom to ask help from. So I think that's where what I said is, if you keep on helping without expecting, in your times when you are capable of helping, if I'm helping a poor person without thinking he will help me or not, but I'm helping. So my unintentional thoughts of help will come back to me multiplied in many unfold ways, in unknown, unrevealed ways, which I'm not aware of. So keep on helping. You don't have to wait for the day when you yourself become helpless. So that should be your way of helping or looking at help. Keep giving when you are in a capacity to give. And trust me, when you need it, you will get 10 times of what you actually wanted it to come back to you. You won't even expect, you won't even visualize, think, or understand, but it comes back. And a lot of times it is those unknown people who will come back to you and help you. They don't even know you, but they are there to help you, because you have helped those who were not known to you. And now these unknown people are sent as angels from God, is what I say, because they're not less than angels. Trust me, for me, a lot of times things have worked out. I don't know how. I don't have the answers how, but there are people who just came and helped me. So, like, I think Hitesh sir don't know me very well, but today I'm here and I'm giving a lecture with all of you, and I'm here. So, how do we connect? We don't know. The answer is not known, but we are all trying to help each other in one or the other way. So that's how the help works. So
correct. I completely agree to this. And Amit ji, do you want to ask any question to the speaker?
It's been quite resonating, and I think all people that we know, and especially the S3 level, S4 level, must be exposed to what her teachings are. And I think with her in times to come, I think we can build a better synergy where she can contribute a lot also for the grand vision of PYP. So
sure.
Yeah, thank you.
Sure. So let's meet her after the event is over.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay. So thanks a lot. Thanks for this wonderful session. And now is the time for our second speaker of the day. Okay. So Amit ji, please proceed with inviting our next speaker of the day.
Sure. So after this wonderful speech from Ms. Nidhi, it gives me immense pleasure to invite our second speaker of the day, Mr. Jayaraman Rajah Iyer, as our second speaker of the day. Mr. Iyer is a chartered accountant from ICAI New Delhi since year 1966. He has a unique insight into major changes in management operating systems culled from experience with firms across the globe. Industrial Revolution 4.0, the fourth industrial revolution, is of two kinds. One, advanced digital technology, and societal changes. It is the recording of the societal changes Mr. Jayaraman is keen to act upon. Analyzing the draft national policy by the Ministry of MSMEs, he finds MSMEs constitute 28% of the GDP, but the numbers are about 110 million people. Similarly, his analysis on Indian agriculture to reach $1 trillion from the current $450 billion, he finds 650 million people are involved. The societal change would mean sheer numbers who get benefit or who do not. Recording of these numbers and the changes is going to be very crucial for the society as a whole. He addresses these humongous issues with his IPR IBCM, which is inactivity-based cost management that has 5 principles. Principle 1, what gets measured gets managed principle. Number 2, measure qualitative elements of management principle. Number 3, corporate atomic structure principle. Number 4, return on intangible principle. Based on IBCM, CREAM technology is designed. CREAM, an acronym for corporate governance, risk management, earnings, accounting quality, and management quality, bringing all the world data under a single canopy of 17 SDGs called Project SEED Framework, which is social, environment, and economic development goals. CREAM technology enables a single farmer's produce reflected in FAO or World Bank stats calculated by EPP, which is effort per person, by return on intangible. Project SEED brings in the Global Council for Happiness and Well-being and issues areas health, education, work, personal happiness, and cities, providing GNH, which is Gross National Happiness Index, and simultaneously measuring the GDP. CREAM technology measures, records, and tracks the societal changes from CAGR to CDGR. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome our second speaker of the day, Mr. Jayaraman Rajah Iyer, to share his wisdom about the economic systems of the Golden World Order being developed by collaborative efforts of large number of individuals and institutions collectively called as Project Yug Parivartan Synergy Platform. Welcome, Mr. Rajah.
Yeah, I will start my pranams to the avatar manifesting in every one of you. This is the one I learned from Hitesh ji.
Thank you, Jayaraman ji.
Yeah, in terms of wishing every letter to everyone, you start with that. Pranams to the avatar manifesting you. It's a great feeling. With that feeling, I'm starting my PowerPoint, measuring, recording, and tracking of societal changes. The theme of Yug Parivartan Summit 2022. What 3 things you think should change for the ecosystem to become a golden age ecosystem? Swarna Yug ecosystem. 3 things are: when you establish the manifestation of divinity in each avatar scientifically, that is number 1. Number 2, optimize the energy flows in each avatar for societal good. Number 3, establish knowledge base for each avatar by measuring, recording, and tracking the societal change. In that prospect, I recall what Richard Feynman says: religion is a culture of faith, science a culture of doubt. If the doubt is cleared scientifically, then faith is restored. Then automatically the religion follows as the emergent property. That's what Murray Gell-Mann, the Nobel laureate, says. It is critically important to realize that you don't need something more in order to get something more. Life emerges from physics and chemistry plus a lot of accidents. And human mind emerges with neurobiology, plus a lot of accidents. So he says, realize there's a general principle. He says, you don't need something more in order to get something more. It is very simple to follow your religion, to get the faith restored is a very simple process, nothing to be added. In that, I had written a book, Corporate Citizenship and Sustainability, Measuring Intangible, Fiscal and Ethical Assets. It was an inspiration from Immanuel Kant, 1724-1804, who raised the question of whether a science of metaphysics with a logical structure like that of the well-established mathematical and natural sciences was possible. Yes, it is made possible by defining and measuring intangible. In this book, I'll give you some of the chapter 2 is Who Are You? And it's a very interesting one. I'd like you to make note of it. The total number of stars, Carl Sagan says, in the universe is larger than all the grains of sand and all the beaches of the planet Earth. That is, in terms of quantum, is something amazing. Number 2, if you look at the Shiva's statue in CERN, Geneva, and normally I get all the copyrighted information properly taken care. And this is how my book was published. And in that CERN, Geneva, you'll know, Large Hadron Collider, they're attempting to investigate whether equal amounts of matter and antimatter were created in the Big Bang, and what happened to the missing antimatter. Mind you, we are talking about the grains of sand on all over the beaches of the planet Earth as to the quantum of matter. As much quantum was there for antimatter, but all that antimatter is missing today. What happened to that? In that, let me come to our brain. Sebastian Seung, professor, Princeton Neurosciences Institute, talks of the mapping of the brain, what he calls connectome. It would take a few generations to map all the possibilities of the neurons' connectomes. If you look at David Eagleman, neuroscientist, Stanford University, if you take a cubic centimeter, a very small quantity of brain tissue, there are as many connections between its neurons and synapses as there are stars in the galaxy. It talks of the sheer number of such connections in a single brain, existing in such density that it bankrupts our language. We have to invent a new type of mathematics to even address this. So in one end, you are talking of the matter, which is unbelievably big. And another, you are looking at missing antimatter, which was as big as that of the matter. And the third one, you are looking at the brain, 1 cubic centimeter of the brain. You have anything is more than single brain has got more than what the all the sands of the beaches of planet Earth. So big our brains are. Antimatter is not missing. That's my conclusion. There's reasoning as well as for intuition. It's implanted in every one of the avatars. It's very important. Antimatter is within us and matter outside of it. Antimatter, when collides with matter, forms a pure energy. So triggering antimatter is the effort the avatar puts in to optimize one's own energy force. I think collectively we should. Let me go to the ecosystem which is in current status. The first industrial revolution, which Schwab says, the first industrial revolution used water and steam power to mechanize production. Reality check. The first industrial revolution enabled colonization more secure and profitable. Territory is gained by any means, ending up with the World War I. If you look at the second one, it says used electric power to create mass production. Reality check. The second used electric power to create mass production, enabling a great scientific inventions, as well as mass destruction, electric gas chambers, and bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, ending up with the World War II. If you look at the third one, which is currently going on possibly, the third used electronics and information technology to automate production. Reality check. The third used electronics and information technology to automate production as well as tampering with the voting machines, toppling with the governments, installing leaders of their choice, assisting biological warfare, ending up with COVID-19 disaster, and messing up with countries like Afghanistan and Ukraine. We are on the cusp of the fourth industrial revolution. Klaus Schwab says the fourth industrial revolutions of two kinds. Advanced digital technology and societal changes. I'm very happy that he had included number 2, the societal changes, which is my focus. Advanced technology includes cloud computing, big data, cybersecurity, autonomous robots, augmented reality, IoT, Internet of Things, additive manufacturing, etc., etc. If you look at the summary of what I would like to see, what is happening in this cusp of the fourth revolution, is the IT industry without a regulatory body framework is a Frankenstein monster, let loose but untamed. IT industry leaders cannot be silent over this issue. The first, the second, and the third industrial revolution, on account of ignoring what the society wants, is a total unmitigated disaster. CO2 emissions started from the steam engine. The fossil fuels producer subsidies with the advent of the finding of oil, and the consumer subsidies since the electrification. So this is the major point of what we are today at the cusp of the fourth industrial revolution as to the ecosystem. Ecosystem has industrial advancement is there, but the society has been considered as an industrial waste. Let me go to the next this thing, what we have to do, Project C, social, environmental, and economic development. Social and economic development, the 17 SDGs. The world data under a single canopy of 17 SDGs must come. Integrate 17 SDGs for JNH and GDP. Seed 1 of Project Seed. Project Seed and Social will focus on these 5 policy issues area as per Global Council for Happiness and Well-being, GCHW. If you look at the 17 SDGs, and you look at the first one, so social, we've got about 5 GCHW parameters, which are health, education, work, personal happiness, and cities. So identify the health to goal number 3, education to goal number 4 of SDGs, work, goal number 8 of SDGs, personal happiness, goal number 1, 2, 5, 10, and 16 of SDGs, and cities, goal number 11. So we have a compact integration of what it is needed from GCHW, from which we create a gross national happiness index, and you have the 17 SDGs, out of which 9 are being allotted to the seed 1, which is social. Similarly, we have environmental and we have economic development, and this is what is needed. Environmental again connected to social GCHW area. Goal number 6, 13, 14, and 15. You've got to create this database. Economic development, again, connect to the social GCHW areas. Goal number 7 and 9, 12, 17. This economic development is quantitative. Social and environmental is qualitative elements of management. There is a very bad thing in the current ecosystem, very delayed data. Whether it is government, state governments, that goes 3 years old and goes to the national statistics, another 3 years old, and it goes to IMF and World Bank and other things. Everything is outdated, and we don't have authentic information, and the database is pretty bad. We got to necessarily prepare 944 database for the purpose of having a clear and up-to-date information system. Is a very important. So if you look at the Project C, you're looking at another report, let me tell you, 2012, Louis Coyantes, who said happiness towards a holistic approach to development in 2012. And he said, while the surveys were taken, it was not credible. At the time they came, the survey with weird countries, Western, educated, industrialized, rich, democratic countries. Today also they are coming out with 157 countries, all under survey, like about 10,000 people are being possibly surveyed for 1.3 billion people, may get over 140 or that sort of thing. Sri Lanka may get about 120. Nothing is credible, and we see it for a day and put it in the waste paper basket. And this may cost, I don't know, maybe billions of dollars for this report. It's very important that we look into it. And he said, recognize that GDP is not the only indicator of well-being. Integrate economic and social policies is a most important aspect of what we have to do to take the current ecosystem to the golden age ecosystem. So in that respect, CREAM technology is designed to integrate social, environmental, and economic development, measure, record, and track the societal changes. Now, to summarize, we have build world data architecture 944. Combine GCHW parameters with 944. Prepare GNH GDP combo report from the foot soldier level. And CREAM technology. Now I'll come to the CREAM technology now. CREAM technology is, CREAM is an acronym for corporate governance, risk management, earnings, accounting quality, and management quality. CREAM technology based on IBCM and activity-based cost management is copyrighted as my IPR. The theme, activity as a cost incidence, whereas inactivity a cost consequence. Measure cost consequence now. That is the main theme of IBCM. Not measuring the inactivity, which puts you to the cost consequence. It is a major cost of inaction. That is the major bane on current ecosystem. If you are not able to get that through, we will continue to be in trouble. Now, I will explain the 5 principles which the introducer did it. Principle number 1, what gets measured gets managed. You can't believe that, like, HP autonomy, $9.5 billion acquisition. It was written off after acquisition, all the $9.5 billion within 3 months. And if you look at the 11 million vehicles being implanted with cheat software and then being found out, $35 billion Volkswagen had to shell out. So these are the things I am wondering, if you look at the Caribbean, if you look at the island affairs, it's all in terms of billions of dollars. The billions of dollars somebody makes a decision, and when they say thrown out, and the society suffers. So what gets measured gets managed is a very important aspect of what we are looking at, and measure qualitative elements of management. There are about 170 open-ended process blocks in an organization. 12 are quantitative, which we show in P&L and balance sheet. 158 are qualitative elements of management. They are like code of good conduct, code of business principle, and so many insider trading and conflict of interest, conflict of personal interest, conflict of conscience. All these things are not measured. With the result, these are the raw material for the output, which is P&L and balance sheet. And we have a very major problem. 158 out of 170 an organization does. We have a 2-dimensional organization structure. 27 VPs may be there, vice presidents, each one fighting with the other. Goalposts are different for different column. And this is not what I would like companies to function. We got to necessarily bring the corporate atomic structure. We have to learn from nature how it is being done. It is, Martin Rees says, if there is a one-eyed with 10 tentacles, a creature sitting in the other side of the galaxy is finding it. They are looking at the same universe as we look at from the planet Earth. And Einstein said, most incomprehensible thing about the universe is that it is very comprehensible. The only species in the entire universe, let me report, the entire universe is being not going by the laws of physics, is the corporate and the government. If only we can get this cooperative atomic structures properly done, particularly if you see the note, it is a proton and electrons and neutrons. Same atomic structure as in the universe, and the policies of the proton, and the people, the society, the neutron. Policies and the people form a nucleus as much as a neutron and proton form a nucleus. And the CO team of the practices, they are the electron. They spin around the nucleus at a very speedy manner. Nearly in the atomic structure is about 3/4 of the speed of light. And the purpose of the nucleus, which is proton, is 1837 times mass of electron, is plus this neutron that forms as a partner, gives a stability. The CO team should be in a position to speedily run around and go around the nucleus if only there is a nucleus being formed. So it's a very important aspect of creating a structure. And we have, you go through my book also, what is happening is that in the universe is perfect. It is in the precisely and stately manner. What do you mean about that? All those stars, which are more than that of the, grains of sand and all over the planet Earth. They are all beautifully going around. This is a very important aspect of it. And we in companies and government, and nothing. In terms of the quantum, nothing. So if we cannot make ourselves proper, this is the one which is be able to stabilize the corporate and the governments, which is the most important aspect of my presentation. Then I will come immediately, I will show you about, and this is the one which gives you the Panchabhuta. The Panchabhuta principle is the matrix that has been brought. Why I'm telling is that is going to make a huge difference from what Hinduism has created for I don't know how many millions back. The Panchabhuta is is the same thing in when you start with the quiescence. Say Mahatma Gandhi is sitting on the parapet wall of the Sabarmati ashram, is thinking. It's a quiescence. He doesn't know nothing. It's out of nothingness. Then the second is the sound. It gets a sound idea. That sound idea is the most important. When in Voyager 2 in 2012, when it went beyond the solar system, for the first time, NASA recorded the sound that coming from that Voyager 2. Whereas the Panchabhuta had talked of availability of sound as one element in the space. Then comes to the Earth is communication, two elements, which is you have the sound as well as the touch too. The third is a formation. There's a fire, which is very important. Plus you have the form, which comes in the third element. Then you have the fourth element, water, which adds another element, which is formulation, which is a formulation. The formulation is the most important for the thing. When Gandhiji has got the idea, he went and talked to the people, he got them together, and now how to implement it. This strategy plan 2030 of 944 spend as much time as possible in this particular formulation. Formulate the proper, where how many, if you have a 500 people or 500,000 people or 1 million people in your company, formulate the policy in terms of how it is going to be executed. It's the most important thing for 944. That is the last but one. Then you have, the last one, which is Earth. Earth has got a additional element, which is has got a smell. So it is done in there. When you have strategy plan 2030 is ready, that is a substance of quality. This is the important thing in Panchabhuta. That is from nothingness, you create is a linear expansion. from one to the other, one to the other, one to the other, one to the other, then you create a substance of quality. It's not like Jayaraman or Nirav Modi creating something, they get some idea and have a quantum jump to the stage 5. So the 6 stages of transformation is going to make a lot of difference for 944 plan. Is very important. Then the action plan comes in immediately. Then the 4th principle is the return on intangible. We have arrived at the most important factor in the antimatter. Every one of the persons, the avatars are having the denominator intangible. They have amazing capability. Whether it is a potter or a nuclear scientist, that intangible is the antimatter. So when we give the intangible as an antimatter, the next one is to come out the 3 laws, return on intangible uses based on the laws of the universe. Law number 1, energy is liberated matter. We show under P&L and balance sheet. Law number 2, matter is energy waiting to happen. Raw materials go down to finished goods stores to NPAs. This is the worst part of it. It has to be, this is the inaction. Cost of inaction is law number 2. Law number 3 is when antimatter collides with matter, it forms pure energy. That is to say, push law number 2 to law number 1. When you look at the equation, return intangible, law number 2 equal divide by law number 3 equal law number 1. So return on intangible is action or inaction in the numerator. Denominator is your antimatter, is your intangible, common for everybody, which has only 1. Whether it is Potter or anybody, nuclear scientists, denominator is 1. Equal to their own capability, they perform. Either they perform or they don't perform. So you have action or inaction. If you look at that law 2, it creates an index of inactivity. How it is being done is that project's seed framework split into corporate ethical responsibility and corporate fiscal responsibility. In corporate fiscal responsibility is a cream report you have to get, corporate governance and risk management, and you have the accounting quality and management quality. This is the sustainability of value system. What defined value that PYP is coming out with, this has to be mentioned. It is goes by the 3rd law of Newton's 3rd law. If there is something mentioned in the management quality, there will be corporate governance. If it is not being mentioned in the management quality, you cannot compute the corporate governance. And the denominator is by 5 people for each task, and each one has got their own, they are yoked together, but work independently. So you have a cream report for every company. And emergent property phenomenon, which is very simple, which Nobel laureate said, gentlemen, conformity of nature to herself. This is what we have done with the corporate atomic structure. Then applicability of simplicity, return on intangible, common for everything. The whole organization will be ROI, return on intangible. Very simple, only one single formula. Then you have unreasonable effectiveness. Unreasonable effectiveness is that if there is any paradox, that paradox is being resolved with the least number of mathematical equations. That is the 3 important aspect of the emergent property, which we discussed earlier also. Now, let me give you the index of inactivity. This is Hindustan Unilever 2007 to 2019 analysis. You have the by process block. You look at the each and every this thing of cream report. The cream report, and for example, 34.19% is the final results, what they have. And you have index of inactivity by resource area. ER management, managerial force, operating force, how the people do. So this is the most important of having a matrix between what your process blocks expect you to do and what the last but one formulation, you create that, you act upon it. It includes earnings also. All your P&L and balance sheet, everything is brought into account. In addition, the 158 qualitative elements. So it must tally. That is 34.19 here and 34.19 there also. Both says try balance values. I'm an accountant. I'll be very happy about it. Now, I did a work of this thing for Gujarat State sort of a blueprint. Thanks to Prakash Vermaji, he asked me to do that. This is the one for 1.5 trillion 2024 target. And you have the 1.5 trillion from current $250 billion. And we have an opportunity of executing it. Even today, this particular format which has been given 2 years back can be capable with what I said about the return on intangible or capability. When we have the various industry group, each group is being identified and is all to be done on the 944, and you create a EPP. When you have the effort per person, if you look at that 944 is 170 process block. For each unit within, whether it's 20 million workforce, out of which 13 million agriculture, and a few are here everywhere, every one of them individually, they are the denominators. And what they do, including of GCHW, what the benefits they get is not simply a salary, is in terms of the complete enhancement of taking care of 20 million workforce. Thereby is one great state anywhere in India where there is a prohibition, unimaginable. The social plus points which have come because of that prohibition, you have to equate Kerala and Tamil Nadu. They're depending only on TASMAC. This is not the case with Gujarat. They are capable of doing that. I wonder why they are not taking up this 2024 target of 1.5 trillion. So this is the one, measuring, recording, and tracking of social changes. So, ladies and gentlemen, I stop with that.
Thanks, Dr. Jayaraman. It was really very elaborate. And I think 40 minutes are not complete justice to such a deep subject. And we look forward to having a dedicated webinar with you for 2 to 3 hours, wherein people can ask deep questions after understanding it completely. So for now, let me just check if we have some questions. So in the golden world order that we are envisioning, which we have named as PYP Wise World, which means Project Yug Parivartan Worldwide Integrated Services Ecosystem World, wherein every service given by every human being will be integrated with everyone else, because this is how universe functions. No matter how small action we do, it produces a ripple effect, right? And that effect goes to each and every person on this planet. Similarly, we are serviced by, each person is serviced by the effects of the actions done by other people also. So in that case, we need an economic system which utilizes the resources of this planet in the most optimal manner and make it a localized, abundant, circular economy. So what is there in the design of your system, that if we bring, say, about 50,000 to 1 lakh people into a close vicinity of 2 by 2 kilometers, considering that that is the world, then how the economic systems within that community will work?
Yeah, as I said, about $1.5 trillion for Gujarat state domestic product. When you say a particular area, you can go by, say, agriculture, you can go by the mining, you can go by various industry sectors, and everything can be taken. I have seen, went through what you presented yesterday, where the cities, health, education, work, personal happiness, and the cities. So these are the 5 criteria for GCHW, and you create a particular area called the peri-urban area, go beyond urban and go to the peri-urban. We got to develop that. And I had discussed this particular area with how, I mean, a Stanford University professor also, is one thing which I have come out with is a transition to green economy. And we can do it. And it's a very simple. I said that it's a very simple because the matter in energy. Law 1, Law 2, Law 3. I would like people to go through that again. It's a very simple process. From inactivity and action or inaction, we can very easily do that.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to having a detailed discussion with you on this matter and see the various common grounds through which we can integrate your system with Project Yug Parivartan Synergy platform, because we don't want to reinvent the wheel. Anything done good by anyone on this planet should come together into a unified force. This is what we are looking for. And
it would be my pleasure, and I would like to meet you also. There's a lot of things yet to be done, and the ecosystem, your golden age ecosystem is a must. And we got to, it's not just about one or two, we're talking about 750 million people. Yes. We shall do that.
In fact, it's 750 million today, but like expected population of the world is 1,000 crores. And accordingly, we have estimated one self-actualized leader need for every 1,000 people. So around 1 crore or 10 million self-actualized leaders have to be created and integrated into a global world order through a global governance system. Of course, the implementation will be local, and there will be a thick governance on the bottom than the top. But yes, the guiding principles should be same for the entire world. And I'm also aware of your happiness index and aura index that Bhavesh is proposing. So all these things need to come together to create a win-win situation for everyone.
Thank you very much.
So I have one question from Mr. Umesh Shejekan. So Umesh ji, yes, please ask your question.
Thank you very much, Jayaraman ji, Iyer ji. I think he is such a enlightened and highly, professor of that subject. And I think it takes hours together to understand his, total whatever the presentation he has given. With this small period of 40 minutes, I think it is just a brushing up us. One thing I want to ask Iyer ji, can you summarize on this particular, I have understood your knowledge of this one with the scientific and our technological that from the first revolution, second revolution, third revolution, and the fourth revolution, I think every third revolutions had great positive as well as negative impact. But the fourth revolution, how it will, whether it can lead it to our golden age. Can you explain to understand for a very common person in his common language? Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Am I audible? Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. This is exactly the fourth industrial revolution. I don't know. Normally, these guys are talking only about the what you get is what you see is what you get. It's purely object oriented. I'm surprised that fourth industrial revolution, Klaus Schwab has mentioned about societal changes. It is the first time the society has been brought into the picture. In the corporate autonomy structure, I'm bringing the society for calculation. So the society is, as Hitesh ji said, is about 1,000 million, 1,000 crores people. Every one of them have to be brought into account. It is possible.
Great. So we'll have more discussions regarding this in our dedicated webinar. So now is the time for inviting our next speaker of the day to the dais. So for this, I would like to request my colleague, Sophie Secura, to formally introduce our next speaker.
Thank you, Hitesh, and thank you, Mr. Iyer, for the extraordinary scientific insights into the ongoing societal changes happening around us now. We're definitely looking forward to hear from a lot more from you in the future. It is now an immense pleasure to introduce the third speaker of the day, Mr. Patanjali Jha. After having served as a tax administrator for over 35 years, he retired as the Principal Chief Commissioner of Income Tax, Mumbai, in July 2021. In addition to his responsibilities as a tax administrator, he has been actively leading a natural farming revolution in India for the last 20 years through his style of farming implemented at Vanya Natural Farms, founded by him. Over the last 20 years, he has created Vanya Farms, a food forest spread across 100 acres of land situated in Madhya Pradesh and Bihar, with a range of trees having commercial and medical value. The forest is self-sustained with pollinating bees and grasslands. The farm has now become a proof of the concept of no-till, no external input, and multi-layer farming. It has acted as a source of inspiration for many to raise and switch to natural farming practices and raising food forests instead of traditional destructive farming practices. This has led to the raising of food forests on over 1,000 acres of land. He has worked in close tandem with the Eco Task of the Indian Army in its afforestation efforts. Through his efforts, he has made known the effectiveness of the vetiver system and has gifted over 1 crore vetiver slips for the afforestation, landscape stabilization, and decontamination efforts of the Eco Task Force in Marathawada, Samba sector, banks of River Ganga, etc. These efforts have also contributed to the revival of the Ganga River ecosystem. As a natural farmer, he has been instrumental in creating a team of like-minded individuals from varied professional backgrounds and has proposed a composite solution to the global problems based on field experience and thorough study by synergizing the virtuous cycles associated with food forest and government's policy on compressed biogas or CBG. This team is now acting as an advocacy group for the adoption of this concept and reaching out to the government, corporates, voluntary organizations, and individuals. So, ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming our third speaker of the day, Mr. Patanjali Jha.
Thank you, Sophie. Thank you so much, Hitesh ji. And after hearing the last part of Mr. Iyer, it's so articulate, so forceful. I'm a student of economics from Delhi School of Economics. I wear different hats. So I wish I could hear him more. Anyways, definitely would be hearing him in future. Here I'm a simple farmer who, my parents started this endeavor about 2 decades next to Narmada ji. For me, river systems are living gods, especially our ancient river system. And we were determined not to practice tilling. It has a mention in our Rig Veda. Later on, I also got to know that other Veda also has a mention that if you do not look after your soil, the civilization will not last. It is there in our scriptures, but primarily I was following Masanobu Fukuoka. He was a Zen master from Japan who was deeply influenced by our scriptures. And Zen master because he used to think for the world. Hitesh ji's efforts, and I like the entire concept. We believe we would, at the end of the presentation, you can judge it better, but we believe that if we practice permanent multi-layer, no till, no poison, food forest, combine it with the compressed biogas, perhaps we can bring Ram Rajah in our country and can become the world leader in showing the path to the rest of the world, how we can effectively fight global warming and climate change, the two biggest threat to humanity currently. They say that in the next 5 years, once the temperature will rise by 5 degrees once before the end of 5 years. And IPCC report says that in the next 20 years, the threshold limit of 1.5 degree would be reached. 30% more vertebrae will die. There are many things which have become irreversible by this time, like rising of sea level, like melting of ice, the glaciers, whether on Himalaya, whether on Arctic. The carbon content, the carbon dioxide, and this thing is the highest in the past 2 million years. And Jakarta already is sinking. They have started vacating. Most big cities would become unlivable. And the solution is so simple, is what I say in the beginning of my conversation. I don't have the audacity to call it a speech. I call it conversation. As the German philosopher said, the hardest thing to see is what is in front of your eyes. Everybody in the world knows that we need more trees. We need to, this is a global, the code red for humanity. And everybody knows the most effective way to counter it, other than all other measure which they are talking about, is about planting trees. Just imagine when by by planting, practicing no-till, no poison, and practicing multi-layer food forest, which is essentially at different levels, you plant different trees and bushes and vine and the coexisting tree species. We will elaborate that. That is a simple innovation that we thought we could achieve. And the result is stunning. So the Dr. Ratan Lal, perhaps most credible voice as far as the agricultural science and the soil science is concerned, recipient of World Food Prize last year, which is equivalent to Nobel Prize in Agriculture. He says that by increasing the 2% increase in the carbon content in the soil, you can reverse all greenhouse gases, all. So let's work towards this. Keep working everything about recycling, about whatever else, energy, clean energy, all that. But always the center stage is about planting trees, grasses, grasslands, and restoring Mother Nature if we want to survive. Because the best estimate by the most knowledgeable, most wise people, I would put, is 30 to 40 years at the rate we are going, not beyond. The regenerative farming is what we are practicing, is way beyond sustainable, way beyond organic, way beyond farming. It's about growing things together. If we have to mention about our farm, because the proof of concept is having these farms. Currently, about 2,000 acres worth of farmers are following this method. Not good enough. We need to take, with the help of Hitesh and this group, I'm confident, and also Ramakrishna Mission and many other very decent NGOs are coming around with massive following. And where if we have these proof of concept all across the country, perhaps across the globe, in due course of time, although we are already 20 years behind, but in the next even 5 years, if we are able to gain some momentum, we still have the outside chance from being saved from mass extinction. Friends, this is the real picture of our two farms. Above is the 5-year-old no-till multi-layer food forest in Bihar in Purnia, and below is the one that we have in Madhya Pradesh next to Narmada. Here, if you have to describe our farm, broadly speaking, the innovation is something very simple, that we started growing 2 trees together. This is the innovation. It's the picture of the same set of tree from different heights. The right hand side is the picture below, of left-hand side plant is moringa. The right one is bay leaf. And you grow them at a distance of a foot. They intermingle together. Independently, they are weak. Together, they are stronger. And the moringa goes and attains a height of 15 feet, 20 feet. On our farm in Madhya Pradesh, it is 80 feet now. And this is the neem giloy. But moringa trees are also have achieved massive height. And the two trees together and surround them all with vetiver. We would see this humble grass with origin in India and which the world has adopted. The World Bank recommends this. King of Thailand is the main patron. China uses this in infrastructure project. Australia uses it for urban dumping sites, small townships. They on a dumping site, they would simply plant vetiver and plant sprinklers, and that would be able to stop all the ill effects of the toxic effects of the dump. So it's incredible in terms of purification, incredible in terms of holding the topsoil. It has tensile strength of steel. It survives for a year, for hundreds of years. It's supposed to be the Rome of Vishnu, as per our scriptures. And King of Thailand, being the main patron of this, in Chiang Rai Institute, where the children were trapped in that cave, the school children, they did a very simple experiment of vetiver by planting one imli tree, surrounding it with vetiver, and the one without vetiver, all other things remaining the same. We can well see that the first picture, the one surrounded by vetiver, is almost 5 times faster, better than the one not surrounded by vetiver. Why? Because it holds the topsoil, it holds the moisture, it brings the micronutrient from the lower depths. And as per the definition of growing, it's important because evolved people are here, so therefore we should know. In my considered view, Fukuoka has defined growing the best on earth. What he said was that the mulch, whatever shavings, you can do shavings 3 times in a year. That shaving has lignin, and which turns into humus, and then a little dropping of, say, gobar, gomutra, whatever the combination, or the chicken dropping for that matter, and the bacteria and fungi work on them, this biomass, and it becomes decomposed. Comes the rain, which takes this decomposed matter deep inside the soil and becomes the food for microorganisms, earthworms, and other small animals. Now it has gone inside the soil, deep inside the soil. And whereas the food root zone is just beneath the topsoil. Now, with the help of the root, it comes back to the surface of the soil and becomes the food for plants and trees. Nobody has defined growing better. So therefore, you need to have lots and lots of no-till, lots and lots of mulch, vetiver fantastic, tuer fantastic, and so many other trees species that we practice all at the same time. We are not even bothered about the directions and the other things. The simple innovation is this: grow 2 trees together. When they this is the picture of my son's 1-year-old farm. Now most of our holding, it is less than 1 acre. Most of our holding in the country is less than an acre or something like that. And marginal farmers and these very, very small farmers, from the year 1, it is more productive than any other farm, monocropping, including in the rain-fed areas. So here in this case, you see not an inch of soil is visible, and many things which grow in the year 1, like turmeric, like tuer, like papaya, like banana, and moringa, all these start fruiting from the year 1, and all other things, say a lemon and a jamun and a guava and everything is planted in the year 1. They start growing, and something starts fruiting in about 3 years, something starts fruiting in later about year. In case we find that there is too much of crowding, there's too much of a shade, just prune them and drop them. They become what? Mulch and the fertilizer. And with the help of so many trees and the vetiver, so much of root, Fukuoka's definition, best achieved. and a little bit of a slurry of cow gobar, a little bit of jaggery, all that does the work. Biodiversity complete, and the year one, it's 300%. Once former vice chairman, at that time it was not known as Niti Aayog Planning Commission, Dr. Aluwalia used to say that if your agriculture can grow at 3%, 30% higher than the Hindu rate of growth, then we can achieve 7-8% of GDP year after year. We are talking of a minimum 100% growth from the year one. I'll also explain how in the global warming scenario where the nature's vagary has increased. Now I have known cities and small towns and small villages in Madhya Pradesh, which would have typically anywhere between 10 hamlets to 40 hamlets, 50 hamlets, and where the water is still needs to be fetched. The same is the story with Maharashtra. My heart goes to them when you see those guys rushing to a train toilet for their drinking water needs, and the young children and the women folk of the house going long distances to bring that water. Imagine if the temperature is 45 degrees, 44 degrees, because now in every decade the temperature is increasing by 1 degree. And as I said, that the leading scientists of the world are saying that in the next 5 years, once the temperature will cross 1.5 degree. And also the IPCC report says that in the next 20 years, it is going to cross the threshold limit. So the nature's vagary is going to be increased now when you have prolonged dry spell, very high temperature. On our farm, if I talk about, in Madhya Pradesh, the temperature now outside our farm goes to 50 degrees. And it stays at 50 degrees for some days and for some time. The birds die. On our farm, the temperature at the same time never crosses 36 degrees. What else is heaven? So from the year one, the temperature comes down by a minimum of 2 to 3 degrees. Carbon sequestration, whatever does something like 15 kg per square meter, and it multiplies 10 times. So I would simply be focusing on the solutions, because this is so vital. This is so, especially more so among evolved people like Hitesh ji and group. So solution is this, that you start growing with a abandon with lots of space as vetiver, tuer, two plants together, and grow everything that you think in that area grows. And you would see that the temperature, this vetiver root that you see, and also it is a great aquifer, and it purifies water, and it recharges groundwater and multiplies 10 times. We will see how we gifted more than a crore, as she mentioned, 1.75 crore to 8 different locations to Eco Task Force of the Indian Army, including Marathwada, Gangaji, Samba, illegal mines, Bhati mines in Delhi, Rajasthan, Pithoragarh, Kokrajhar, 8 such different locations in Marathwada. This vetiver gifted by us made the wildlife to come back within 3 years. This is one of the toughest area, geographical and environmentally most degraded land that we can think of. This is the great Indian Army and greatest Mother Nature. The commanding officer in Marathwada got an estimate done, whereby he found by a set of scientists from Jabalpur Central University, where he figured out that these vetiver alone in Marathwada alone this is the figure of 3 years back, when it was doing 175 tons of carbon sequestration per annum. So multiplied by 8, 4 years back, they were doing this. Currently, it's more than 3,000 ton. carbon sequestration because it multiplies 10 times. You would have noticed those pits that is known as Zai pit, Zia pit, whatever. In Africa, they are practicing this. They dig a hole or dig a trenches and plant vetiver and plant a tree. It's amazing in terms of water retention, in terms of survivability, and brilliant fodder. So that is why the first the deers came, and then the people, the whole cycle, natural cycle began. In Gangaji, they were covered by National Geography for slope stabilization and also for planting. Vetiver has this thing for purifying water. In Indonesia, the filthiest and the biggest river, and the most filthiest river on earth, as bad as our Yamuna Ji in Delhi. Now they are planting vetiver, Sitarum River. And they have already covered about 30 kilometer, 35 kilometer of the stretch of 200 kilometer, and they are determined to cover the rest of the river system on both sides with vetiver. I would say a step ahead and a step beyond is vetiver and suitable species of trees by the riverside and riverine, they call it, because riverine carry more water than the river per se. And so this vetiver, what it did was not only purified the filthiest of the water, also when you put the same filthy water in a container, because the vetiver can also be grown in on water. So that water became drinkable and good fit to use in the kitchen and for the garden and for again recycling. So it has great features for environmental purposes. It has tensile strength of steel, has a lifespan of 100 years, and now we are discussing with many corporates about the usage of the shavings. The vetiver latest is we gifted some 2 lakh slips to an NGO working in Nashik, Raha Foundation, who already have achieved the water independence in that region, and they were looking for mostly Bombay IT people working in that NGO. They came when I was posted in Mumbai, and they were looking for ways and means for their livelihood. So I advised them about vetiver. I am advising someone who grows perhaps the best mushroom in India for sure, among the best in the world. Mushroom again is brilliant for achieving many breakthroughs. And when we experimented with vetiver shavings, I was acutely aware of it because it has very rich in lignin, and it showed just a mere mix of 10% of vetiver shavings made the compost on which the mushroom seeds are grown, made the quantity and the quality way superior. Now just think such a simple thing that in a multi-layer food forest in the wasteland by the riverside and by the this thing that they have revived, the watershed system, how much vetiver can be grown? Enormous. And the shavings of that, my friend would be buying at a minimum cost of 8 rupee a kilo for the dried vetiver. It can lift the entire poor population of that region because it can translate into something very decent, and he can use them all. This is one usage. I have got it sent. We have sent it to a leading scientist in Germany, who's the best in lignin in the world. He's been experimenting all his life, and he's very excited in using it in building material. Also, we are trying, this is too early, but I'll be sharing it with you at an appropriate time, whether it can achieve about, natural fabric. More than anything else, we were very excited when the green vetiver shavings can also be used for uh, marine fuel, which currently is the most environmentally degradable fuel because they make it from coal tar, and also for aviation fuel and also for CBG, compressed biogas, which is a perfect circular economy. You use bamboo, you use vetiver, the shavings, And when you grow a food forest like this, it throws nothing less than minimum of 50 tons of surplus biomass. After plus of that can go into G, and which can produce clean energy. Also, the resultant, this thing is a liquid, if it is used as green, liquid fertilizer and the solid fertilizer, which goes back into the farm, saves you from using the chemical fertilizer, again saves you carbon credits. Also, that soil would produce healthier food and food and fodder, both. So lesser illnesses. We will also get to see this, that how in our scriptures when they have mentioned that food is medicine. We have the proof of concept as I said, about broadly 500 farmers, and some of these NGOs are following this. And now it is gaining momentum. The soon we reach 10,000 such farms. We don't need any government or anybody to come and because it is highly productive, no cost, all gyan, and it lowers temperature by a minimum of 3 degrees from the year one, because every inch of soil is covered. There's no science more basic than this, that when a sunlight hits a hard surface, it rebounds back into the atmosphere and adds to global warming. That is one. So if it falls on a leaf, and a set of leaves in our case, every bit of sun energy is harvested. And also, current agriculture is contributing nothing less than 30% of the carbon and the other greenhouse gases emissions. 30% of it. On Netflix, you see there is a very well-made documentary, Kiss the Ground. Please have a look at it. There in the West, they are presenting no-till and animal this thing of the current way they are going, stopping of that and practicing no-till, normal farm. And they say that Paris Convention last mentioned had almost agreed for a no-till as a solution to reverse the global warming. Unfortunately, COP26 in this, they even did not discuss it, but does not matter. It is so simple that it is a double whammy. When you till the soil, you release the carbon trapped inside the soil. Soil is the second largest depositor of carbon after the oceans. Not only do you release the carbon by tilling, you also release the nitrous oxide, you also release the methane, which remains in the atmosphere for nothing less than 50 years to 120 years. So by no tilling, you do not do that. And by planting trees, grasses and the perennial grasses and the such kind of multi-layer food forest, you sink the carbon. And as I said, the vetiver does enormous amount of carbon sequestration and the carbon sink. The more carbon your soil has, the more life the soil has. In fact, one mutti of soil has more life than the entire living being on earth. So let us, by practicing no-tilling and providing them favorable conditions, the sunlight not hitting mother, she's Mother Earth. Let's have some sense. So cover her with what? With these set of perennial trees, bushes, grasses. These are the real pictures of our farm. The left side is the Gandharaj lemon, the skin of which is brilliant to turn your body alkaline. Sadhguruji is now traveling across. He had visited our farm during his Nadi Yatra, and somewhere he tweeted that this is the ideal farm. What he's been talking, we have been doing for the last 20 years. He's correct when he says that the way we are treating our soil, there would not be any food for us to feed 10 billion people by 2050. So therefore, let's restore health to the soil. Also, as I said, that in the year one, the temperature comes down by 3 degrees. Also, whatever we produce, we have started producing black turmeric. I would request Anupam to show the real picture of our farm. Yeah, these are the set of farms. Today's picture, actually, I thought it appropriate when you enlarge it. I'll leave the presentation with you. You can see the black turmeric, which is seriously curative of cancer. The WHO says that 10% of Indians are going to get cancer in their lifetime, 13 crore people. One person gets cancer in family, everybody is involved. So about more than 50 crore people would struggle against cancer. Why? Because the left hand is giving you poison, chemical fertilizer, pesticide, herbicide, fungicide, and the right hand is making the cancer medicine. It's a $1 trillion, multi-trillion dollar industry. We have forgotten our traditions. We have forgotten Bhagavad. We have forgotten Charak Sanhita. We have forgotten. I'm not saying everything about the Western medicine is wrong. Large part of it is wrong and greed driven. So this black turmeric is one of the most effective way to stop a tumor and prevent cancer and cure cancer. And anyone who has got a cancer and recovered also, he has this fear for his lifetime that he may get it again. So if he's consuming this the turmeric and the vetiver water and the keeps his body alkaline by eating those skins, lemon skins, that the Gandharaj which we talk about. The rough skin, it keeps your vetiver water, all these turn your body alkaline, you'll never get cancer. It's curative, it is preventive, and also it would not recur to you. So these are simple solutions where cancer, rheumatic arthritis, sugar, whole host of other things can be reversed. Aloe vera is mind-blowing. Again, in a multi-layer farm, we have 2 lakh leaves. So they are so seriously curative. And now we have started putting the wine on our trees. The pan, everything that we offer in our puja has humongous medicinal value. Now this pan is excellent against osteoporosis and digestion and what do you call that, diabetes and cancer for that matter. And the wine on a moringa tree, even more potent and powerful. We also grow, when every farmer was growing all kinds of trees, we were very happy growing neem tree. And on that, we have this guduchi. Charak Sanhita has it that this is the best immunobooster on earth. In recent times, some section of the press tried to malign it by saying that it affects your liver system. So wrong. Indian Express countered it, and that government's organization also countered it, but perhaps the damage was done. Because there is one Tinospora crispa, which has a similar leaf, but which is not Tinospora cardifolia, which is the Guduchi or the Neem Giloi or Amrita or the best immunobooster. And the second one, crispa, affects your liver. So if you eat the wrong leaf and something happens, or the stem or concoction, and during the COVID time, and a few of them died, you cannot blame the Guduchi or the Neem Giloi. Anyways, it is open for everyone for a simple thing. By consuming this, you can close many hospitals during dengue times, because it is a definite cure against dengue and for lifting your platelet count. We have so many testimonials, 35 of them who were suffering from cancer. I'm neither a doctor nor a Vaidya, but these simple things I know work like magic. There is this admiral whose 19-year-old son had a relapse of blood cancer. So his testimony is there. He wrote, I just wanted to inform you that my son PET scan was done today and he has recovered completely. I thank you from the bottom of my heart for your help and support. We are forever in your debt. In case if I can do anything for you, please do not hesitate to call me. With warm regards and our gratitude. And we take no money from anyone who's suffering in life. There are doctors who are getting cured, and people come to us. At the outset, I make it clear that I'm neither a doctor nor a Vaidya, but in my experience, I see that these things, especially the black turmeric, they locate the cancerous cell and destroy that alone. And it has a natural camphor. So great. When I was in Mumbai, Principal Chief Commissioner, we had 7,000 employees and officers. 2 truckloads of Lacadong and Rajendra Sonia and black turmeric we got from our farm, and honey. Honey is antibacterial, antivirus. Moringa honey. that is the seventh layer, which I talk about, the multi-layer food forest. The same land can support so many of them. And there were only 2 deaths. That also because of the comorbidities. When in the country, numbers were minimum in 3 digits, sometimes even 500, sometimes nearing 1,000. In Mumbai, which was most severely affected in the COVID 2 times, only 2 people died. So they work. I know it for a fact. Also, I would like to point out that in the current times, when nature's vagary has increased, in very short period of time, after a prolonged dry spell, you have very intense spell of rain. In our Bihar farm, during the Amphan, which hit the eastern coast, Calcutta and Sundarban. This is the picture of our farm. 3 days of incessant rain, along with Ola Vrishti and everything. Everything was inundated. But we practice no-till and food forestry. In 48 hours' time, each bit of drop of water was submerged and was became a groundwater recharge. Only a forest can withstand the vagaries of nature, not a industrial commercial monocropping can withstand this. 5 out of 3 crops would be destroyed, is my experience of the last 3-4 years. This recurrence of nature's fury is going to be increasing with every passage of time. Here is a regenerative farming which is doing enormous good to your soil, to your temperature, to your health, to soil health, to quality of air. Regenerative farming is the answer for global warming, and which is bountiful. I would also very briefly mention how we can combine this with the CBG, compressed biogas. A farmer produces something which is in abundance, and the prices of a potato or a tomato crash, and they have to throw it away. Whereas we are recommending that in our kind of food forestry, and you can grow grains, you can grow, amaranthus, the grains which actually we should be consuming. Not wheat is a wretched grain in its current form. And my friends are growing rice also without. I also grow on a small portion, but we grow kodo, we grow amaranthus in a big way, and they're superlative grains, ancient grains, and great for soil. So grains, vegetables, herbs, trees, fruits, and the last one, which is biomass, surplus biomass, something like 50 tons of biomass can be produced in this kind of farm, which becomes this, like I said, at 2 rupee a kilo, the farmer would be making enormous amount of money out of the shavings of the biomass of vetiver and the tuar and the bamboos, and which goes into the compressed biogas and produces clean energy. And the resultant, this thing is a fertilizer, organic fertilizer approved by the government of India, which goes back into the farm, and your farmers and their cattle and everything, they will not fall ill. And also it will create enormous amount of employment. So out of the 17 SDG goals which the UN has set up, this meets 15 of them. This is so was I was told about my the then deputy commissioner coordination. He's from IT Roorkee. He mentioned it to me, sir, that it meets 15 out of the 17 requirements. I said 17 of the SDG goals. More than anything else, here is a method which lowers temperature immediately, which produces the best on earth, which takes care of your soil, which takes care of your groundwater recharge, which when grown in together will take care of your river systems, creates enormous employment, does reverse, back to villages from the slum area that they are migrating, less congestion, best air quality, and we can become the food supplier for the world. because what we have in plenty is the sunlight. Here we are talking about multi-layer. So from the first top layer on our farm, the moringa has grown to a height of 80 feet. The tiny leaves allow the sunlight to filter to the next level. Citrus, which has become 50 feet below, some papaya, some banana, some tuar, beneath vetiver, inside the soil turmeric, and then the vine on the trees. And in Bihar, we produce some enormous amount of great honey, because as I popularly say, that it's the trees and the bees normally, as an adage, is the base of our farming. And we produce something like 35,000 kg of honey now, of which 14,000 kg is moringa honey, which is superior to manuka honey, which is curative. So why should Indian farmers remain poor when they can become energy supplier, when they can become food supplier, fruit supplier? For the cleanest kind, you would have seen some of these, this thing that they are returning our tea, they are returning our mangoes, they are returning our this thing, because the excessive use of pesticide. None of it is needed in case if you grow food forest, which is so biodiverse. None. We use no pesticide, including that of the organic kind. None of it is needed. This is from our experience. Bring life back to soil. They will be healthy, and survival of the fittest. They would make all the difference. This is a very small video of our farm, which whenever you find time, you can have a look at it. My nephew made it. He received the Cannes Film Festival Award in 2019 for his environmental effort. And it's a short film which basically gives you an idea of, and it's embarrassingly simple to raise one food forest. I popularly say that anyone who has been practicing farming, he'll take 3 hours to understand. Anyone who has not done farming will understand 1 hour. Come and visit our farm and you can see the proof of concept. In the end, I say, practice this or perish. Thank you, Hitesh.
Thanks, Patanjali ji, for this wonderful insight into the natural food forest. And for the information of all, I have personally visited the Vanya food forest in Indore, and it is really working. And even the statements like every inch of it is covered with mulch, I have seen it with my own eyes. And this farm has become a seed bank for large amount of forest that you will see in future. And I have heard sometime during my teenage that visionary people not only think about the fruits, they are able to see the seed within that fruit. They are able to see the possibility of a tree within that seed. And they are able to see the possibility of a forest in one single tree. So this is what is coming to our use now, not only as a choice, but also forced by the condition of the ecosystem today, as Patanjali ji has rightly said, either accept it or perish. And others
Yes,
also, if you have any questions, please do that. And in the meantime, I'll respond to one question, which I have already responded to in text by RC Brijesh Mathurji. He is asking that how can PYP take the lead in making this connect? How can this be spread with the enthusiasm and energy to make an impact? So for anything to get success, we need subject matter expertise, and then on the particular domain, and then the organization capabilities and the right people to act as force multipliers. So the collaboration between Vanya Organics and PYP Synergy platform will definitely result into a synergy which is needed by the world today. And we are on an advanced stage of that relationship. And we have also introduced a few lands which are there within PYP system for development of natural food forest. Some of the team members have already visited Vanya Organics along with me. And this is really great, Patanjali ji. We really need to make it fast and restore our real jungles rather than spreading our concrete jungles. Right. Good. So we'll talk more about it, and there is a session, complete session that we had done with Patanjali ji, and we will publish that on our YouTube platform for everyone's consumption. And if you have any question, you can share with me later on also. I'll send the same to Patanjali ji. Thank you, Patanjali. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Great to be here with you.
Thank you. Okay, so now is the time for our next speaker of the day, post which we will move for the candid conversations in which you can ask direct questions to me. Good question, bad question, easy question, tough questions coming from all corners of the world. You can ask all those questions transparently in the candid conversation. Okay, so I would like to invite my colleague, Anita Budraja ji, to introduce our next speaker of the day, Mr. Tara Chand Belji.
Okay, namaskar everybody. I was really intently listening to the previous speaker, Patanjali ji. Thank you so much. Especially आज इनकी जो talk है वो बहुत significant है because आज हम World Environment Day celebrate कर रहे हैं, and in order to achieve real change, Vanya Organics is really walking the talk, and I wish them all the best for this. दिन के हमारे चौथे वक्ता श्री ताराचंद जी बेलजी का परिचय कराना मेरे लिए सम्मान की बात है। वे मध्य प्रदेश के बालाघाट जिले के ग्राम कन्नई से रहने वाले हैं। उन्होंने 2005 से 2009 तक भारत रत्न नानाजी देशमुख के मार्गदर्शन में समग्र ग्राम विकास के लिए सपत्नी समाज सेवा का कार्य किया। तत्पश्चात 2009 में प्राकृतिक खेती शोध संस्था बालाघाट की स्थापना की और किसानों के साथ मिलकर जैविक प्राकृतिक खेती के मूलभूत सिद्धांतों को खोज निकाला तथा 150 से ज्यादा खेती के नुस्खे और फॉर्मूले विकसित किए। उन्होंने अपनी जैविक पद्धति के माध्यम से अभी तक 18 फसलों के रिकॉर्ड उत्पादन कर लिए हैं। अभी तक भारत के 18 राज्यों के 50,000 किसानों को प्रत्यक्ष रूप से परीक्षण दे चुके हैं तथा YouTube और सोशल मीडिया के माध्यम से 2 लाख किसानों को प्रशिक्षण दिया है। 15 वर्षों के अनवरत प्रयासों से ताराचंद बेलजी ने रसायन मुक्त खेती की दिशा में एक नई लकीर खींच दी है। ताराचंद बेलजी ने कृषि क्षेत्र के जैविक प्राकृतिक खेती में नई सोच, नई विधा ही जोड़ दी है। अपने ऊर्जा विज्ञान और जैव रसायनों से खेती में बम्पर उत्पादन की पूरी प्रतिक्रिया और व्यवस्था ही स्थापित कर दी है। इस तकनीक में फसलों में बीमारी आती ही नहीं है। सबसे पहले ताराचंद जी ने प्रकृति के ऊर्जा विज्ञान को स्पष्टता से समझाया है कि नेगेटिव और पॉजिटिव ऊर्जा क्या है। 5 तरह की नेगेटिव ऊर्जा पदार्थ की, प्रक्रिया की, रेडिएशन की, समय अर्थात तिथि की और मन या विचारों की नेगेटिविटी के बारे में स्पष्ट बताया है कि ये कैसे काम करती है और उनसे कैसे बचा जा सकता है। इतना ही नहीं, प्रकृति के 5 महाभूतों को शुद्ध सजीव करके इनमें अतिरिक्त ऊर्जा भर के कैसे फसल उत्पादन को और बढ़ाया जा सकता है। तो देवियों और सज्जनों, आइए हम श्री ताराचंद जी बेलजी को प्रोजेक्ट युग परिवर्तन ग्लोबल समिट 2022 में स्वागत करें। प्लीज ज्वाइन मी।
जी बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद अनीता जी। हितेश भाई को भी बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। तो धन्यवाद आप सब जो है अच्छे देश के जो बहुत अच्छे काम से जोड़ने वाले ऐसे सब लोगों से जोड़ने के लिए। और जैसा कि अनीता जी ने परिचय कराया कि हवा, मिट्टी, पानी और पौधे की ऊर्जा बढ़ा करके कृषि में उत्पादन को बढ़ाया जा सकता है, ये बिल्कुल मैंने करके देखा है। दूसरा है कि हवा, मिट्टी, पानी की जो तृण मात्राएं हैं, पंच महाभूतों की तृण मात्राएं, भूमि, गगन, वायु, अग्नि, नीर, ये जो पंच महाभूत हैं, इनकी तृण मात्राओं को, अर्थात आज के विज्ञान के अनुसार से न्यूट्रिशन को पौधे के अंदर ठीक से स्टेब्लिश करके उत्पादन को और कई गुना बढ़ाया जा सकता है। तो ये दो विषय हैं, प्राकृतिक खेती से अधिक उत्पादन, इस पर मैं चर्चा करने जा रहा हूं, और प्राकृतिक खेती से रासायनिक खेती से भी 2 गुना 4 गुना और कहीं कहीं तो हम तो 10 गुना ज्यादा उत्पादन ले रहे हैं। और भारत भर में आज ऐसे 100 से ज्यादा किसान हैं जो मेरे इस मेथड का उपयोग करके बम्पर उपज ले चुके हैं। 100 से ज्यादा किसान हैं जिन्होंने मिट्टी को मक्खन जैसी मुलायम बनाया हुआ है। तो हम पंच महाभूतों को शुद्ध, सजीव और शक्तिशाली करना, ये तीनों काम हम कर सकते हैं। ये पूरी प्रकृति पंच महाभूतों से बनती है और पंच महाभूतों से ही चलती है। पंच महाभूत यानी 5 एलिमेंट्स। इस पर जो है आज कोई ध्यान नहीं दे रहा है। कोई बीमार होता है तो केवल 1-2 चीजें ही देखी जाती है। जब भी हम बीमार होते तो इन पंच महाभूतों के किसी के अधिक होने से या किसी के कम होने से बीमार होते हैं। और पंच महाभूतों सबकी, ये सारी पंच महाभूतों की 108 तृण मात्राएं हैं, वो भी कम ज्यादा होंगे तो भी हम बीमार होंगे। तो 2 स्तर पर अभी मैं आपसे बात करूंगा। एक कि एनर्जी घट जाए तो हम कैसे बीमार होंगे, और दूसरा पंच महाभूतों की तृण मात्राएं 108 तृण मात्राएं कम ज्यादा होंगे तो हम कैसे कमजोर होंगे। इन पर हम चर्चा करेंगे। तो सबसे पहले मैं ऊर्जा पर चर्चा करता हूं। 2 तरह की ऊर्जा है, एक है नेगेटिव एनर्जी और एक है पॉजिटिव एनर्जी। अब इस प्रकृति में एनर्जी एक ही है, हमारे लिए नेगेटिव पॉजिटिव है, पौधों के लिए नेगेटिव पॉजिटिव है। तो पर्टिकुलर मतलब व्यक्ति या कोई जीव या किसी पदार्थ के लिए ऊर्जा नेगेटिव पॉजिटिव होती है। अब पर्टिकुलर किसी पर्सन के लिए या किसी पौधे के लिए, पदार्थ के लिए ऊर्जा नेगेटिव पॉजिटिव क्यों होती है? क्योंकि कोई भी पदार्थ या कोई भी अणु या जीवाणु या व्यक्ति किसी एक ऊर्जा से उत्पन्न होता है, ऊर्ध्वगति या अधोगति की ऊर्जा से। यदि अधोगति की ऊर्जा से उत्पन्न होगा तो अधोगति के अणु जीवाणु उसके लिए पॉजिटिव है, और ऊर्ध्वगति से उत्पन्न हुआ तो ऊर्ध्वगति के अणु ऊर्ध्वगति के अणु और जीवाणु उसके लिए पॉजिटिव होंगे, अधोगति के नेगेटिव होंगे। क्यों होंगे? क्योंकि अधोगति के अणु जीवाणु, पेड़ पौधे, कोई भी जीव उसके संपर्क में आएंगे तो उसकी ताकत घटाएंगे ही, या उसकी ताकत को समाप्त भी कर देंगे टोटल। तो इस तरह से ऊर्जा की 2 गतियां, ऊर्ध्वगति, अधोगति। ये दोनों गतियां ही त्रिदेव, पंच महाभूत, अणु और जीवाणुओं को उत्पन्न करती है। त्रिदेव, पंच महाभूत, अणु और जीवाणु को उत्पन्न करती है। और जैसी त्रिदेव, पंच महाभूत, अणु और जीवाणु उत्पन्न होंगे, और जीवाणु उत्पन्न होने से दिखने वाली प्रकृति बनने लगी, फिर कई तरह के पेड़ पौधे दिखेंगे। पेड़ पौधे दिखेंगे तो शाकाहारी जीव दिखने लगेंगे, शाकाहारी जीव दिखेंगे तो मांसाहारी जीव दिखने लगेंगे। पेड़ की टहनी पत्ती सूख गई तो उसको खाने वाले दीमक दिखने लगेंगे। तो प्रकृति दिखने लगेगी। प्रकृति दिखती है पेड़ पौधों से और जीवों से, पर प्रकृति बनती है जीवाणुओं से, जीवाणु बनते अणु से, अणु बनती है ऊर्जा से, ऊर्जा जो है बनाती है ऊर्ध्वगति और अधोगति की ऊर्जा, 2 ऊर्जा है। तो इन ऊर्जा से अणु, जीवाणु, पेड़ पौधे बनते हैं। तो इस तरह से 2 प्रकृति हैं इस पृथ्वी पर, एक नेगेटिव, एक पॉजिटिव, एक ऊर्ध्वगति की, एक अधोगति की। तो अधोगति यानी उसकी तृण मात्राएं हमारे लिए बुरी होंगी, बुरा रंग, बुरा गंध, बुरा स्वर, बुरा जो है स्पर्श। तो ऐसे 5 तरह की तृण मात्राएं नेगेटिव हमको दिखेगी, क्योंकि 5 तरह के पंच महाभूतों ने प्रकृति को बनाया। पंच महाभूत यानी भूमि, गगन, वायु, अग्नि, नीर। भूमि का भ, गगन का ग, वायु का व, अग्नि का और नीर का ना, भगवान। इस प्रकृति को भगवान ने बनाया और ये अपरा है। अपरा मतलब अपरिवर्तित है। इनकी पांचों भगवान की, पांचों महाभूतों की, भूमि गगन वायु अग्नि नीर, इनको महाभूत कहा भगवान कृष्ण ने। महाभूत यानी जीवित, जो जीव होते हैं उनको भूत कहा, और इनको महाभूत महाजीव कहा। इन महाजीवों ने, जिनको भगवान हम कहते हैं, भूमि गगन वायु अग्नि नीर, इन्होंने प्रकृति बनाई है। और प्रकृति इनकी तरण मात्राओं ने बनाई है। इसी 5 तरण मात्रा हमारे शरीर में पूरे 108 होंगे। भूमि की पूरी 108 तरण मात्रा हमारे शरीर में होनी चाहिए। कोई भी एक तरण मात्रा घट गई, आयरन एक तरण मात्रा घट गई तो हमारा खून कमजोर हो जाएगा। कैल्शियम एक तरण मात्रा घट गया तो हमारा शरीर जो है वो कैल्शियम की कमी से जूझेगा। तो हमको कैल्शियम, मैग्नीशियम, जिंक, सल्फर, आयरन, ये सभी तरण मात्राओं से लेना पड़ेगा। सभी तरण मात्राओं से ये हमको लेना पड़ेगा। तो ये तरण मात्राएं जो है, ये तरण मात्राएं हमको जो है, ये देखिए नकारात्मक ऊर्जा की तरण मात्रा आ गई, दुर्गंध का घोल आ गया तो क्या होगा? ये देखिए पानी के कैसे कण बदल गए। पानी के जो है उनके जो अणु हैं उनका स्वरूप ही बदल गया, वो बदरंग हो गए। और जैसे आप उसमें प्रार्थना करोगे, हे गंगा माँ यह जल मेरे शरीर के पोषण के लिए है, कृपया आप अपनी शक्ति प्रदान करें, हे ईश्वर इस कार्य में मेरी मदद करें। जैसे ही आप ये बोलोगे पानी की तरण मात्रा अच्छी हो जाएंगी और कितनी खूबसूरत हो जाएगी। ये डॉक्टर मासारू इमोटो जापान के एक वैज्ञानिक हैं, उसके ये प्रयोग हैं। तो ये जो प्रयोग हैं, ये प्रयोग इस वैज्ञानिक के हैं, यानी हाँ आपने केवल सोचा नहीं कि तरण मात्राएं बदल जाएंगी, क्योंकि तरण मात्राएं सब ऊर्जा के लेवल पे हैं, तरंग है सारी तरण मात्राएं, रूप रंग गंध स्वर स्पर्श। इसमें रूप बस थोड़ा ठोस है, आयरन, जिंक, कैल्शियम, मैग्नीशियम, हाइड्रोजन, जिससे सूर्य बना। तो ये तरण मात्राओं से ही पूरी प्रकृति बनी है। ये तरण मात्राएं ठीक होनी चाहिए और ये सोचने से ही बदल जाती हैं, बोलने से बदल जाती हैं। इसलिए हमारे यहाँ अच्छा बोलना ये परंपरा थी, अच्छा सोचना ये परंपराएं थी, प्रार्थना करना ये परंपराएं थी। ये ऊर्जा विज्ञान की टेक्नोलॉजी है। तो इस टेक्नोलॉजी का उपयोग हमने खेती में किया और ऊर्जा जल बनाया। आप किसी पानी से प्रार्थना कीजिए, ये ट्यूबवेल का पानी है, हे गंगा माँ यह जल मेरे पौधों के पोषण के लिए कृपया आप अपनी शक्ति प्रदान करें, हे ईश्वर इस कार्य में मेरी मदद करें। केवल इतना बोल करके उस पानी को खेत में चला दीजिए, उस दिन फसल बहुत बढ़िया हो जाएगी, उनका स्वरूप ही बदल जाएगा, क्योंकि वो बहुत अच्छी जो है पानी को ग्रहण करेंगे। जिस पानी में जो पानी के सूक्ष्म तरण मात्रा का आकार कितना अच्छा होगा, एक कण का आकार बढ़िया हो गया ऐसा। तो इस तरह से हमको क्या है, ये ऊर्जा जल बना करके खेत में डालना है। एक और प्रक्रिया है अग्निहोत्र भस्म। अग्निहोत्र भस्म और फिटकरी का पानी अगर खेत में डालते हैं, 50 ग्राम अग्निहोत्र भस्म और 50 ग्राम फिटकरी को मिलाइए और पानी में डाल दीजिए एक पोटली बना के, और इस पानी को खेत में चला दीजिए। मिट्टी से नकारात्मक ऊर्जा का प्रभाव खत्म हो जाएगा। अभी मैं एक जो है ये पंजाब हरियाणा के बॉर्डर में हूँ, पाकिस्तान से लगा हुआ फाजिल का। यहाँ पर अभी जितने किसान आए थे सबकी मिट्टी निगेटिव थी। ये ऊर्जा जल बना के डालने को मैंने बोला, अगले इस साल यहाँ के सारे किन्नू के फ्रूट जो फूल ड्रॉप हो गए, तो सारे किसान नर्वस हैं क्योंकि फूल भी जड़ गए, तो कहाँ से फल आएगा, क्योंकि मिट्टी निगेटिव है यहाँ। जैसे ही थोड़ा सा धूप पड़ा, थोड़ी स्ट्रेस आया पौधे में, सारे फूल झड़ जाएंगे। अगर मिट्टी पॉजिटिव रहती, स्ट्रेस आता, तो 95% फूल ही झड़ते, 5% फूल भी रुक जाता तो पिछले साल से ज्यादा प्रोडक्शन आता। तो इस तरह से ऊर्जा जल बनाकर खेतों में देना, तरण मात्राओं को पॉजिटिव रखना, मतलब क्या है कि सुगंध की तरण मात्रा देना, रूप रंग गंध स्वर स्पर्श, अच्छा रूप, अच्छा रंग, अच्छा गंध, अच्छा स्वर, अच्छा स्पर्श। अभी किसान जो रूढ़ी का गोबर डालता है, घूरे का गोबर डालता है, उतिरडा का गोबर यानी कच्चे गोबर का ढेर वो डालेगा, उसकी तरण मात्रा निगेटिव है। खेत का बंटाढारी होना है, खेत खराब ही होना है, नकारात्मक अणु और जीवाणु ही उत्पन्न होंगे और वो इकोलॉजी नकारात्मक शुरू हो जाएगी। और जितना नकारात्मक इकोलॉजी बढ़ेगी, किसान की परेशानी बढ़ने वाली है, क्योंकि नकारात्मक जीव पैदा होंगे और लगातार पैदा होंगे, बार बार पैदा होंगे, अनंत काल तक पैदा होंगे। जब तक पॉजिटिव नहीं किया जाएगा यही जीवाणु बढ़ेंगे। तो हमने ऊर्जा मतलब जल के रूप में हमने पॉजिटिव एनर्जी डाला, अब पॉजिटिव अणु भी डालना। तो पॉजिटिव अणु कैसे डालना कि पॉजिटिव जो है अणु जल बनाना। क्या है पॉजिटिव अणु जल? तो 100 लीटर पानी में 100 लीटर जीवाणु हमको डालना है। अभी जीवाणु जल मैं बताऊंगा थोड़ी देर बाद। उसमें 5 लीटर छाछ, 1 किलो गुड़, 2 किलो भस्म रसायन या 4 किलो गोवर्धन खनिज खाद। ये गोवर्धन खनिज खाद गौशालों में बनता है। मेरा यूट्यूब चैनल है ताराचंद बेलजी की पाठशाला, उसमें जाके देखिए गोवर्धन खनिज खाद कैसे बनता है, भस्म रसायन कैसे बनता है। ये 2 और 4 किलो डालना है। भस्म रसायन है तो 2 किलो, गोवर्धन खनिज खाद है तो 4 किलो। ये डाल के और 2 लीटर जैव रसायन डाल के रख दीजिए 6-7 दिन, फिर खेतों में दीजिए। यूरिया और डीएपी देने से केवल 2 या 4 तत्व मिलते हैं। ये अणु जल देंगे तो 82 तत्व मिलेंगे प्लांट को, 82 मिनरल्स हैं इसमें। और ये जब अणु खेत में देंगे, ये पॉजिटिव अणु है, एकदम से पौधा खिल उठता है, एकदम से इमीडिएट, यानी आज देंगे दूसरे दिन परिवर्तन दिखेगा। 6-7 दिन में पौधा लहला जाएगा, क्योंकि उसको खाने को भोजन, जैसे हमें बहुत अच्छा जिंक, कैल्शियम, मैग्नीशियम, बहुत अच्छा फल खाने को 2-4 दिन मिले तो बहुत अच्छा हो जाएगा। ये हम जो है रस चिकित्सा में भी, गंध चिकित्सा में भी, स्वर चिकित्सा में भी ये तरण मात्राएं दे सकते हैं। रस चिकित्सा में कैसे तरण मात्राएं देना? 50 लीटर पानी में 150 लीटर पानी में 50 किलो कोई भी फल और 16 किलो गुड़ डाल के एयर टाइट ड्रम को बंद करके रख दो 90 दिन। 90 दिन में पूरी तरह से वो बन जाएगा। एंजाइम इसको बोलते हैं, जैव रसायन इसको बोलते हैं। इसको खेतों में हर सिंचाई में दीजिए। मिट्टी में जो अणु बैक्टीरिया करते वो काम ड्रम में हमने कर लिया। तो इस तरह से जैव रसायन बना के दीजिए। छाछ बहुत अच्छा जैव रसायन है। 5 रस होते हैं छाछ में, 5 तरण मात्राएं होती है इसमें, ठीक है। 5 इसमें रसायन होते हैं, यानी 5 रस होते हैं, खट्टा, मीठा, नमक और कटु और कसाय, 5 रस होते हैं छाछ में। आप ये छाछ सीधे दीजिए खेत में। अभी एक महिला है, उन्होंने छाछ और गौमूत्र दी, बहुत अच्छा उसका जो है क्या निकला, तरबूज खरबूज निकला बहुत। क्योंकि ये क्या होता है, ये रसायन है। छाछ पूरा का पूरा रसायन है, इसलिए दूध से 400 गुना अच्छा ज्यादा कहा है आयुर्वेद ने छाछ को। तो छाछ और रसायन दीजिए, जैव रसायन दीजिए। ऐसे लगभग 150 से ज्यादा फार्मूले हमने बनाए, यूट्यूब में इन फार्मूलों को दीजिए। और अब जो है पंच महाभूतों को शुद्ध करना, तो उसका आधार है अग्निहोत्र। 10 एकड़ खेत में ठीक सूर्योदय सूर्यास्त में अग्निहोत्र कीजिए, ठीक है। अग्निहोत्र बड़ी एक ऐप डाउनलोड कीजिए और ठीक सूर्योदय सूर्यास्त, क्योंकि इसके भस्म से मिट्टी तो पॉजिटिव हो रही है। अग्निहोत्र करोगे तो हवा भी, वहां का पानी भी, वहां के पौधे भी सब ताकतवर होंगे। और इसके भस्म को खेत में डालते रहिए। अमावस्या के पहले गंध चिकित्सा कीजिए। जो है कंडे जलाइए, उसमें 4 देवताओं को आह्वान कीजिए। भू स्वाहा अग्नि इदम नमः, अग्नि का आह्वान कीजिए। भुव स्वाहा वायवे इदम नमः, वायु का आह्वान कीजिए। स्व स्वाहा सूर्याय इदम नमः और भूर्भुव स्वाहा प्रजापति इदम नमः। ऐसे 4 देवताओं को आह्वान कीजिए। जैसे इनको बुलाओगे ये देवता आते हैं, पर हमारी आंखों में दिखाई नहीं देते। हम ठोस को देखने में सक्षम है, ऊर्जा को नहीं देख सकते। ऊर्जा अणु और जीवाणु को हम नहीं देख सकते, इसलिए हमको भरोसा नहीं होता। पर आते हैं ये देव, चूंकि ये देव सूक्ष्म है ऊर्जा के स्वरूप में, इसलिए हमको दिखते नहीं। ये प्रैक्टिकल प्रयोग मैं कराता हूँ मेरे प्रैक्टिकल सेशन में। तमाम जो है प्रैक्टिकल सेशन में मैंने कराया है कि आप गंगा को बुलाइए, गंगा आती है। अन्नपूर्णा माता को बुलाइए, वो आती है। धरती माता को बोलिए, वो आती है। वैसे आपको भूमि जो है भूस्वाहा अग्नि, अग्नि को, वायु को, सूर्य को और प्रजापति को बुला के और 4 बूंद डालना है घी का। घी डालते ही ऑक्सीजन से भर जाता है आपका खेत। उसके बाद उसमें हींग, हल्दी, गुग्गल, अजवाइन, काली मिर्च, है ना, बच की जड़ और ऐसी चीजों को मिश्रण बना के डाल दीजिए, उसका धुआं होने दीजिए। अमावस्या के पहले कीजिए, कीट नहीं आएंगे आपके खेत में। तो ये जो है आप करके बहुत अच्छा प्रोडक्शन ले सकते हो। तो इस तरह से हम जो है ये बढ़ा करके, ये देखिए मैंने पहले ऊर्जा की हमने जांच किया, फिर पंच महाभूतों की जांच करना, उसके लिए डाउजिंग पेंडुलम चाहिए। ये पेंडुलम विज्ञान सबको सीखना चाहिए, डाउजिंग इसको बोलते हैं। और ये पेंडुलम रुद्राक्ष से करना चाहिए, रुद्राक्ष। और जब निगेटिव कोई चीज जैसे पॉजिटिव होती है तो ये पेंडुलम की गति क्या हो जाती है, ये ऐसी घूमती है। और जब कोई चीज निगेटिव होती है पेंडुलम उल्टी घूमती, जैसे पानी छेद के अंदर जाता है तो उल्टा घूमते हुए जाता है, और पानी किसी पाइप से निकलता है तो सीधा घूमते हुए निकलता है। तो कोई पदार्थ एनर्जी को सोखेगा तो उल्टा घूमेगा। ये सीखना चाहिए हम सबको, और ये बड़े आसानी से सीखा जा सकता है। इसको बहुत से रेकी वाले सिखाते भी हैं, ये डाउजिंग कहलाता है। और ये डाउजिंग रुद्राक्ष से करिए, पंच महाभूतों की जांच हो जाएगी। तो इस तरह से आप जो है खेती करिए, हर अमावस्या पूर्णिमा ऊर्जा जल अणु जल दीजिए। लेकिन ये देते रहोगे तब फसल होगी। मैं प्राकृतिक खेती की बात करता हूँ, 1 साल 2 साल ये दीजिए बस, ऊर्जा जल अणु जल, उसके बाद इसकी भी जरूरत नहीं। और जीवाणु जल दे दीजिए आप 2500-3000 4000 लीटर। इस प्रकृति में पौधों के लिए 108 जीवाणु हैं, हमारे लिए भी 108 जीवाणु। वो 108 में 102 जीवाणु हमने खोज लिए हैं। उन जीवाणुओं को मैं जामन और कल्चर जीवाणु कहता हूँ, मदर कल्चर जीवाणु। मदर कल्चर बनाइए अपने घर पे, जीवन में एक बार मदर कल्चर बनाना है, फिर इसका जीवाणु जल बना बना के डालते रहिए। मदर कल्चर कैसे बनाना यूट्यूब से ही सीखिए, ठीक है। थोड़ी सी प्रोसेस है, समय लगता है उसमें, प्रोसेस है, सीख जाएंगे। फिर उसमें से 2 लीटर मदर कल्चर 200 लीटर पानी में डालिए, 2 किलो गुड़ डालिए, 2 लीटर छाछ डालिए, 2 लीटर जैव रसायन या बहुत पके फल डालिए, 2 तुलसी के पत्ते डालिए, 7 दिन रखिए। इसमें ये पानी गाढ़ा हो जाएगा, बहुत गाढ़ा हो जाता है, बढ़िया। इसको चलाइए खेत में, हर 15 दिन में चलाइए इसको, साल भर में 8-10 बार चला दीजिए, मुक्त हो गए। अब आप ना ऊर्जा जल डालना, ना अणु जल, ना जीवाणु, ये बैक्टीरिया सारा काम करेंगे। अब आपको जुताई भी नहीं करना है, एक कृषि कैलेंडर है, हर किसानों को मैं हर साल देता हूँ। उस कैलेंडर में तिथि लिखी है, उस तिथि पर बीज टपका दीजिए, बस सीड बॉल बना के टपका दीजिए। या मिट्टी को थोड़ी सी गहरा, इतनी सी गहरी खोद के और नीचे डाल दीजिए, या सीड बॉल बना के टपका दीजिए। या सीधे आलू को जमीन में रख दीजिए और ऊपर से पुआल पैरा डाल दीजिए, आलू को रख दो जमीन में, बस ऐसे रख दो, जमीन के ऊपर रख दो, ऊपर से पुआल डाल दो, बस। तो 1-2 पानी देना है, बस हो गया। अच्छा आलू चाहिए तो अणु जल जीवाणु जल पहले साल तो देना ही पड़ेगा। या अणु जल जीवाणु जल और जो ऊर्जा जल दे दो, जमीन के ऊपर ही आलू आ जाएंगे। और जितना आलू जमीन के अंदर आता है उससे 2 गुना आएगा जमीन के ऊपर, कोई जुताई की जरूरत नहीं। ऐसी लगभग हमने 17 तरह के फसलों को बिना जुताई की लिया है, और जबरदस्त लिया है, रासायनिक खेती से 4 गुना ज्यादा लिया है। अभी एक सीमा सिंह करके बैतूल की महिला है, उसने छत पे लगाई मिर्च, 2 पौधों से 3.5 किलो मिर्च निकला, 1 गिलकी से 950 गिलकी निकला। बैतूल जिले का विधायक भी उनका खेत देखने गया, वो फेमस हो गई पूरे शहर में कि ये ग्रीन हाउस है इनका घर। तो इतना छोटे छोटे गमलों में ऊर्जा जल अणु जल जीवाणु जल डाल के पौधे लगाइए, जो आप सोचे होंगे उससे 10 गुना ज्यादा फल मिलेगा, मिलेगा ही। और इस टेक्निक में कोई बीमारी आती ही नहीं है, क्योंकि पंच महाभूत अगर अच्छे हमारे खेत में, कुछ बीमारी नहीं आएगी। पड़ोस के खेत में बहुत आएगी, आपके यहाँ आएगी ही नहीं, खरपतवार भी कम आएंगे। और अगर ये खरपतवार और फंगस वायरस खत्म करना है तो फफूंद भक्षक घोल, कीट भक्षक घोल, ये भी गोवर्धन खनिज खाद ये डलवाता हूँ, देख लें, तो आसानी से ये भी आप कर सकते हैं। तो इस तरह से खेती करके हम बहुत अच्छा, नीचे ये किसान है सक्सेस स्टोरी, नाम नंबर सहित है। और ये किसान सबसे नीचे एक किसान है हमारा, जो है किसान का नाम है लेखराम यादव, 350 एकड़ में सब्जी की खेती कर रहा है, बम्पर फसल। इस साल नींबू उनको निकला है, एक एक पौधे से 1.5 क्विंटल, 2.5 साल के नींबू के पौधे में 150 क्विंटल फल निकला है, 150 किलो एक पौधे से। 50 लाख रुपए का नींबू हर हफ्ता निकल रहा है 22 एकड़ से इसकी खेत, जयपुर के आगे कोटपुतली, और यूरोपियन मानक से सर्टिफाइड फार्मर है। ऐसे भारत में सैकड़ों किसान ये जो है प्राकृतिक खेती कर चुके हैं। ये प्राकृतिक खेती प्रकृति का जीवन आधार है। प्रकृति शुद्ध, सजीव और शक्तिशाली हो जाएगी, प्रकृति स्वयं पूर्ण हो जाएगी, मानव की समृद्धि और संस्कृति का मूल आधार है, मानव समृद्ध हो जाएगा। अब लेखराम यादव जी के 50 लाख रुपए हर सप्ताह निकल रहे हैं नींबू के खेत से, क्योंकि इस साल नींबू बहुत महंगा है, 265 रुपए किलो नींबू बिक रहा है उसके घर से। और जोमेटो, टोमेटो जैसी कंपनियां 2 नींबू बेच रही है 165 रुपए में। आप जोमेटो या जोमेटो का वेबसाइट में जाइए, एक ग्रीन नींबू के 2 नींबू के फल 165 में बेच रही हो, उसी के खेत का है, बहुत स्वादिष्ट नींबू निकल रहा है, फलों से लदा हुआ है उसका नींबू। यूट्यूब में डाला है मैंने वीडियो, भी देखिएगा। और प्रसिद्ध समाज सेवी नानाजी देशमुख, मैं इनके सानिध्य में ये सब सीखा है। इनका कहना था कि समग्र ग्राम विकास करना है तो प्राकृतिक खेती इसका आधार है। हमने इस बात को सिद्ध किया है। मुझे गौरव है कि मैं नानाजी देशमुख जैसे बड़े विराट व्यक्तित्व के सानिध्य में ये सब सीखा। एक मेरे गुरुजी हैं दीपक सचदे जी, हर पत्ते में लौकी लेना इन्होंने मुझे सिखाया है। एक पौधे से 1000 लौकी मैंने दुनिया को निकाल के दिया है। इस साल 100 से ज्यादा किसान एक पौधे से 1000 लौकी निकालेंगे। जहां जहां मैंने ट्रेनिंग दिया सब जगह ये होना है, और होना ही है। हर पत्ते में लौकी आएगी। जब एनर्जी बहुत रहेगी, पंच महाभूत जबरदस्त रहेंगे प्लांट के अंदर, तो उत्पादन आना ही है। तो ये पंच महाभूतों की हमने आपको स्क्रीन में दिखाया। पंच महाभूत यानी भगवान। ये प्रकृति जो है, भूमि रापो नलो वायु खम मनो बुद्धि रेवच अहंकारा इति में भिन्न प्रकृतिस्तथा। भगवान कृष्ण ने गीता में कहा कि भूमि, गगन, वायु, अग्नि, नीर, मन, बुद्धि और अहंकार से बीज बनता है। तो पंच महाभूत के साथ आपका मन, आपकी बुद्धि और आपका डीएनए, इसको भी शुद्ध करना है। और इन तीनों, ये परा ऊर्जा है, ये परिवर्तित होती है, अपरिवर्तित होती। भगवान अपरिवर्तित ऊर्जा है, पंच महाभूत अपरिवर्तित, और मन, बुद्धि और अहंकार परिवर्तित ऊर्जा है। तो ये मन, बुद्धि और अहंकार, इसको अच्छा करिए, शांत रहिए, सत्य बोलिए, दया रखिए, प्रेम रखिए, करुणा रखिए, पौधों से बात कीजिए, रोज खेत पे जाके मस्तक जमीन में टिका के धरती माता से प्रार्थना कीजिए। ये दोनों हाथ से पत्तों को पकड़ के प्रार्थना कीजिए कि तेरे पीछे मैं खड़ा हूं, तुम खूब फलो फूलो, आगे बढ़ो। आप देखिए पौधा कहीं से कहीं चला जाएगा। आधुनिक कुछ लोग इसको यौगिक खेती के नाम से प्रचारित कर रहे हैं। आप नाम कुछ भी दे दो, प्रार्थना जरूरी है कि इस तरह से हमको खेती करके और खेती को बहुत अच्छा करना है। ये देखिए मिट्टी में इतने तरह के जीव होते हैं, ये सब तरह के जीव चाहिए। ये केचुआ देखिए, जिसके हाथ है ना पैर है, और नीचे की मिट्टी खा के ऊपर छोड़ रहा है। 5 काम करता है केचुआ। एक तो नीचे के जिंक, आयरन, कैल्शियम, मैग्नीशियम को ऊपर लेके आता है। दूसरा मिट्टी में छेद करता है, तो बारिश का पानी जमीन के अंदर जाएगा, बाढ़ नहीं आएगी। नीचे का वाटर लेवल बढ़ेगा तो धरती में भूकंप नहीं आएगा। तो ये भूकंप से बचाता है, धरती के अंदर पानी डालने का काम करता है। हमारी टेक्निक में एक केचुआ मात्र 1 साल में आ जाएगा, सफेद केचुआ। अभी किसान लाल केचुए को देख करके बड़ा प्रसन्न होता है, वो काम का नहीं, वो निगेटिव केचुआ है। हमें पॉजिटिव ये सफेद केचुए चाहिए, जिसको जो है इंडोजेइक बोला जाता है। ये सारे जीव होने चाहिए मिट्टी में, तब ऊपर आपकी खेत लहराएगी, तब आपको कुछ नहीं करना है। और इस तरह से हमको ये प्रैक्टिस को फॉलो करके और आगे बढ़ना है। अभी एक सोल के लोगों ने एक ताराचंद बेलजी कृषि तकनीकी के नाम से, TCBT टेक्निक के नाम से एक मोबाइल ऐप लॉन्च कर दिया है। ठीक है, आप सोल के नाम से ऐप डाउनलोड करके, और मेरी सारी टेक्नोलॉजीज के अंदर वो डाल दिए हैं। 150 से ज्यादा वीडियोस हैं। जो जरूरत है वो चीजें उपलब्ध भी करा रहे हैं। पॉजिटिव बीज उपलब्ध करा रहे हैं, क्योंकि मार्केट से बीज जो है ना, बहुराष्ट्रीय कंपनियों ने खत्म कर दिया है। और आपको बता दूं, सावधान रहें, GM बीजों से भर दिया है। किसान ये बीज लगाएगा, बीमारी नहीं आएगी तो बड़ा खुश होकर वही लगाएगा। आपके जो है गोभी में बिच्छू का जीन, सरसों में बेसिलस थुरंजेसिस का जीन, बैगन में बेसिलस थुरंजेसिस का जीन, टमाटर में मछली का जीन, ठीक है, ऐसे जीन डाले जा रहे हैं। क्योंकि मनुष्य का DNA और पौधे का DNA एक ही है, बस अदला बदली की जा सकती है। तो आधुनिक विज्ञान खतरनाक निगेटिव जीवों का DNA ही डाल दे रहा है, और डाल चुका है। भारत के जितने पूज्य वृक्ष सब में डाल दिए, सब निगेटिव हो चुके हैं। तुलसी और धतूरा और जासवन सब मैंने निगेटिव, अशोक का पेड़ पूरे देश में निगेटिव है, जिसमें चिड़िया भी ठीक से नहीं बैठती, जो सीधा चलता है। तो ऐसे इनके सबको किया जा रहा है। तो अच्छे बीज, फिर जो किसान खाद बना सक रहा है बनाए, नहीं बना सक रहा है वो भी सोल उपलब्ध करा रहा है। तो इस तरह से आप ये करें। भूमि उपचार का एक कोर्स है, इसकी एक पुस्तक है, ये भी डाउनलोड करें और ये भूमि उपचार करें। हर पत्ते में लौकी ऐसी आती है, मेरे गांव के का एक किसान के खेत का चित्र है, हर पत्ते में आई। ये सारे जीवाणु हैं जो पौधे को नाइट्रोजन फास्फोरस, इसको जीवन में एक बार एस्टेब्लिश करना है, मदर कल्चर एक बार बनाइए बस। ये सारे जीवाणु मिट्टी में चले जाएंगे, ये सारे जीवाणु खेत में जाते चले जाएंगे। ये है अग्निहोत्र, ऊर्जा परिवर्तन का कार्य करता है। भगवान परशुराम ने इस टेक्नोलॉजी को खोजा था, लुप्त हो गया था 1967 में। माधव स्वामी पोद्दार जी ने इस टेक्नोलॉजी को पुनर्जीवित किया। नेक्स्ट, इस तरह से हमको खेती करके और भूमि उपचार एक बार करना है, क्योंकि बीमार हो गई है मिट्टी, तो एक बार हमको मिट्टी को अच्छा करना है, जीवन में एक बार अच्छा करना, जीवन में। और ये काम 1 साल या अधिकतम 2 साल में कर लेना। उसके बाद मैं आपको बिना जुताई निदाई गुड़ाई, बिना खाद बिना दवाई की खेती करना सिखाऊंगा। मनुष्य खेती में काम करेगा तो हमेशा गड़बड़ करेगा, हमेशा, क्योंकि मनुष्य ही अल्प बुद्धि है इस प्रकृति में, बाकी सब बुद्धिमान है। बाकी सबको पता है क्या खाना, वो वही खाते हैं। मनुष्य को नहीं पता क्या खाना है। बाकी सब जीवों को पता है कि हमको बच्चे कब पैदा करना, बाकी सब जीवों को पता है सोना कैसे, बाकी सब जीवों को पता है चहकना कब, बाकी सब जीवों को पता है उठना कब। मनुष्य को नहीं पता उसका खान पान रहन सहन। ये काम हम कर रहे हैं, लगातार कर रहे हैं। इसको जैविक जीवन शैली विज्ञान ऐसा मैं कहता हूँ। इस विज्ञान को आप सबको अपनाना है। हितेश जी का धन्यवाद दूंगा कि उन्होंने इस कार्य को, मेरे इस कार्य को पहचाना और आप सब लोगों के सामने रखा। ये तो आजकल अच्छे कामों को बहुत कम लोग आगे बढ़ा रहे हैं, शायद ये बहुत अच्छा करने जा रहे हैं। शायद देश में ऐसा बड़ा परिवर्तन, युग परिवर्तन ये करके रहेंगे। इनके अंदर वो चेतना मैं देख रहा हूँ, इनके अंदर वो ताकत मैं देख रहा हूँ कि ये युग बदल देंगे। और कैसा बदलेंगे? भगवान मनु जो है, जब धरती में प्रलय हुआ तो एक व्यक्ति कुछ लोगों को लेके निकल पड़ा पहाड़ के चोटी में, और बाद में वो चोटी भी जब डूबने लगा तो खुद भगवान उनको बचाने आए। शायद यही काम हमारे हितेश भाई करने वाले हैं। जो मनु ने जो काम किया वो काम ये करना चाह रहे हैं। उनके अंदर ये प्रेरणा मैं देख रहा हूँ। उनको बहुत बहुत शुभकामनाएं देता हूँ। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद ताराचंद जी, जो आज हमने इस तत्व ज्ञान से रिलेट होते हुए इस जैविक खेती को देखा। ये हमारा नेचुरल तरीका था खेती का, जिसको शायद योग की ही भांति जो है मनुष्य भूल गए हैं। जैसा आपने भगवत गीता के बारे में बोला, भगवत गीता में भी कृष्ण जी अर्जुन को यही याद दिला रहे हैं कि यह योग मैंने पुरातन काल में सूर्य को दिया था, उससे विवस्वान को आया और परंपरा से ये जनरेशन ओवर जनरेशन आगे बढ़ रहा था, लेकिन फिर बीच में विलुप्त हो गया। ऐसे ही बहुत सारी विधाएं हैं जो अगर एक जनरेशन ठीक तरीके से अगली जनरेशन को पास ऑन ना करे तो वो लुप्त होने लगती हैं। तो जब भी ऐसा कुछ होता है,
प्रश्न हो इस पर?
हाँ जी,
2 मिनट का प्रश्न कर सकते हैं।
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल। कुछ लोगों ने, एक ने हाथ खड़ा किया है, तो डॉक्टर प्रीति श्रीवास्तव जी, आप अनम्यूट करके प्रश्न कर सकते हैं। हाँ जी,
नमस्कार।
हाँ जी, नमस्कार।
मुझे प्रश्न तो नहीं पूछना है, लेकिन एक बहुत अच्छी बात मुझे समझ में आई इनके इस प्रेजेंटेशन में। भगवान का जो अर्थ होता है, इतना बढ़िया से एक्सप्लेन किया सर ने। मैं उनको बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद देना चाहूंगी।
जी जी जी,
बहुत धन्यवाद, बहुत अच्छा लगा। एंड आई विल सर्कुलेट दिस मैसेज अमंग द चिल्ड्रन ऑल्सो। कैसे हम अपने यूनिवर्स का ऑनर कर सकते हैं, भूमि, वायु, अग्नि, जल, और यही भगवान है। तो बहुत अच्छा लगा सर, आपको बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
धन्यवाद जी, धन्यवाद प्रीति जी।
बिल्कुल डॉक्टर प्रीति एंड बाकी सब लोग भी। पीकेएस गौर जी, आप कुछ पूछना चाहते हैं?
जी नमस्कार, प्रदीप सिंह गौर में हूँ। मुझे आपसे कुछ जानकारी लेनी है। 2 जगह हम कुछ खेती में काम करने की व्यवस्था बना रहे हैं, उसमें यदि आपका मुझे सपोर्ट मिले। फोन से भी मिलता है, तो मुझे लगता है कि 90% उससे मैं एक्टिवेट कर सकूंगा। और एक यदि एग्जाम्पल बन सकता है तो मैं पूरे गांव में, कानपुर डिस्ट्रिक्ट में उसको लॉन्च कर सकूंगा। अभी मैं बैंगलोर में हूँ, यहाँ भी मैं प्रयास करना चाहता हूँ, आप सपोर्ट कीजिए।
यस ताराचंद जी, प्रदीप जी का प्रश्न है कि वो आपसे कुछ और जानकारी फोन पे बात करना चाहते हैं, जिसके द्वारा वो कानपुर में अपने जो गांव का एरिया है वहां पे इस चीज को जो आप बता रहे हैं इसको इम्प्लीमेंट करने के लिए आगे का रास्ता खोल सकते हैं।
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल करिए गौर जी, बिल्कुल आपका सहयोग
तो
बिल्कुल।
गौर जी, मैं आपको कनेक्ट कर दूंगा ताराचंद जी से, तो आप जो है उनसे डायरेक्ट बात करके इसको आगे लेके जाइए। देखिए, सिनर्जी प्लेटफॉर्म का मतलब ही यही है कि जहाँ 1 और 1 11 होने लगे, क्योंकि सारे समाधान सारी समस्याओं के इस पृथ्वी पे ही हैं। हमें किसी दूसरे प्लेनेट को अटैक करने की जरूरत नहीं है, पर इसके लिए मिलना जुलना बहुत जरूरी है। जैसे ताराचंद जी ने इतनी मेहनत की, पूरा जीवन लगाया इस पे, और 150 तरह के जो एक्सपेरिमेंट्स इन्होंने किए, तो हम सबको दोबारा करने की जरूरत नहीं है एक्सपेरिमेंट। हम सीधा उसका एक तरह से प्रयोग इस्तेमाल हम कर सकते हैं।
जी, इसी तरह आपके प्रयोग का फायदा मैं कर्नाटका में भी लेना चाहूंगा। कल ही मैंने जमीन फाइनल की है 4 एकड़, जिस पर मैं खेती के लिए 10 साल के लिए खेती का प्रयोग करना चाहता हूं। आपका सपोर्ट मुझे बेंगलोर में मिलेगा तो मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगेगा।
बहुत बढ़िया, मैं आपको कनेक्ट कर दूंगा ताराचंद जी से। धन्यवाद।
थैंक यू वेरी मच ताराचंद जी और हितेश जी।
ठीक है, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद गौर जी।
और किसी को कोई प्रश्न है? अनीता जी, आप कुछ पूछना चाहते हैं? आप तो लगातार
हाँ जी, मेरा एक ही प्रश्न था कि हमें बालकनी के लिए कोई एक किट चाहिए है, और अगर कोई ऐसी कोई छोटी किट हो जो कि 30 से 50 गमलों में यूज करने के लिए अगर आप वो क्रिएट कर रहे हैं तो हमें जल्दी से जल्दी आप वो उपलब्ध करा।
ठीक है, मैं बस 4-6 दिन में अपने YouTube चैनल में इसका तरीका और इसका किट भी सोल्व के थ्रू उपलब्ध करवाने की कोशिश करता हूँ। तरीका तो मैं बता ही दूंगा बहुत जल्द, अभी 3-4 दिनों में ही ताराचंद देव जी की पाठशाला YouTube चैनल पर आ जाएगा। चलिए हितेश भाई, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद ताराचंद जी,
किलोमीटर आगे जाना है,
मैं समय निकाल के आए। आप भी
मैं जरा मेरा प्रेजेंटेशन ठीक से आपको दे नहीं पाया, और लास्ट टाइम में हितेश जी को मैंने प्रेजेंटेशन भेजा और थोड़ा आगे पीछे हुआ, इसलिए विषय वस्तु थोड़ा अच्छे से आज कर नहीं पाया, क्षमा चाहता हूँ। फिर अगली बार जरूर एक वेबिनार,
हम एक डेडिकेटेड वेबिनार रखेंगे आपके साथ।
धन्यवाद।
हाँ, एक डेडिकेटेड वेबिनार रखेंगे PYP टॉक्स के अंतर्गत, तो उसमें हम 2 घंटे का लगभग वो रखेंगे। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद, नमस्कार। So now we have arrived at a stage wherein questions directly pointed to me can be asked by anyone. There are certain number of people who are selected as the panelists to ask the questions. So today we have on panel Mr. Praveen Mehra. Pranam ji. So the format of this session is that you can ask any questions related to Project Yug Parivartan, about Code of Citizens Conduct, about self-actualization, about the possibility of implementing this grand vision. Anything that comes to your mind, you can ask. Okay, so we now have the full panel. So we can start now. You can ask any question. You can ask questions asked by other people on the chat as well. So just raise your hand and yes, who would like to ask first question?
Okay, I will go first, and Dr. Preeti after that we can also come. So Hitesh ji, my question to you is, we are meeting and networking and collaborating with so many great souls who want to do a lot of work for the planet, whether they're working in the field of climate or working in the field of making the farmers' lives easier and more productive and bring abundance there, or any other aspect of human existence. However, a lot of times when it's my personal interaction or my personal experience that is bringing this question, is a lot of times some of those people who really have it in them, they are very curious, they are very interested, and they sound, look, and feel very committed towards bringing a grand change or being a part of the grand change in one or the other way. However, then what happens is suddenly they start talking about the personal issues that they are facing, or the family commitments, or job commitments, or things that are not letting them to be a free contributor towards the grand change. You have spoken in many forums about it, but today in front of all of us in Project Yug Parivartan Global Summit 2022, I would like you to give special focus on, throw some light on what is your advice to those people who really want to do it, but something or the other is not letting them be present in full.
It's a very good question indeed. Praveen, do you want to add to this question?
This was also on my mind. I'm just adding to it. Like the tumult in the mind is always between your immediate responsibilities and the larger role that is ordained for you on earth. So how do we, take a call?
Yeah. So it's a very important question. And I feel almost everyone who has some deep feeling of doing something grand, something big for the humanity and live their life purposeful, almost all of them encounter the same situations. And as it is explained in detail in Self-Actualized Leadership Development Program, SALDP, level 1, that our existence is 4-dimensional, 3 exist in space and time, and 1 exists beyond space and time and in transcendence. Now, these 3 spaces, 3-dimensional spaces, are named as space of accountability, space of influence, and space of concern. So we all have these 3 spaces. Now, these 3 spaces, one of which is space of concern, always try to get our attention if there is an immediate deficit or immediate challenge to the personal life or the family life. The second space, so space of concern, requires immediate attention. It's kind of an emergency that comes to people's life. Now, this space of accountability is the ability to account what all you are responsible for. And that's exactly the answer of 2 questions that people keep asking to themselves if they are on the spiritual path or if they are out of the box. The 2 burning questions are, who am I and why I am here? Now, the answer to this question is, the more you understand about your space of accountability, the better answer you get about who you are and why you are on this planet, and vice versa. The more you know about the answers to this question, the more you will understand your space of accountability. Now, this space of accountability is irrespective of the space of concern that you have or the space of influence that you have. So the third space is called as space of influence. Your ability to influence the human and material resources on this planet. Because even if you understand the accountability, you cannot implement it unless you have the resources to do it. So those resourcefulness is called as space of influence. Now, in order to fulfill your complete space of accountability, you need to have more space of influence and less space of concern. But we get restricted because we start getting more space of concern and less space of influence. Now, increasing this space of influence and decreasing the space of concern is also part of our space of accountability. Right? So we cannot run away from these 2 also. So whenever the space of concern starts affecting us, the immediate focus goes towards it and we lose focus from our larger purpose of life. So first of all, we must accept within that it is normal to feel so. If the space of concern attracts our attention, immediate attention, then yes, we have to address it. Now the trick. So this is how it will generally happen in everyone's life. Now the trick, which is learned by those reformers who have performed even in that zone where they had lesser space of influence and higher space of concern. They have still performed. Why? So for this, we need to understand the concept of prarabdha and purusharth. Prarabdha is called as circumstances that come into our life, and purusharth is called as so prarabdha is our paristhiti, the circumstances, and purusharth is our manosthiti, the mental ability. And self-actualization, as we keep saying, the definition of it is kaisi bhi ho paristhiti, ek si ho manosthiti. So we need to maintain the same level of mindset irrespective of the situations and space of concern that we are getting in our life. And that's where the difference between a performer and a visual thinker comes. We always need to fight with our prarabdha and keep doing the purusharth no matter what is happening in the prarabdha. And the trick to do this is raise your manosthiti. Be self-actualized. Be sthit pragya. Be in the state of dhyan and samadhi most part of the day, and you will get the insights to still perform even with the lesser space of influence and higher space of concern. And this is exactly why we have designed self-actualized leadership development program, because such a wisdom, such a encapsulation, such a framework is not available on this planet. This is what differentiates between Project Yug Parivartan and other missions. It is not that we are just claiming to be an avatar. What we are doing here is we are claiming to become a factory of generating avatars, and not by giving them just gyan. The reality is that we are reminding them of their own powers, of their own avatar, which is waiting to be manifested. So keep working on the principles learned through SALDP, and you will find that there is always a way out, right? Human beings are designed in a manner that there is always a way out, right? And if even there is a saying that even everyone is given a boon of Ichha Mrityu. We die when we want it. Otherwise, you can hold on to this body as long as you have the willpower to do it. So even the age doesn't matter. The biological age increasing doesn't mean that we cannot keep performing. We need to learn how to activate the same Tattva Gyan as Tara Chanji was explaining. These 5 elements are not there within us only, but they are in everyone else, and they are all connected together. Everything is connected. So if you learn to activate your tattva and your elements, then you can influence the elements in other people also, right? So even if this body becomes old and biologically incompetent, your mind, your manosthiti can still trigger other bodies to perform and work on your mission. So that's the key. And if you go by the biographies and autobiographies of the people who have made huge changes in the ecosystem, you will find that none of them had ever had plan B, right? The first step towards their mission was the point of no return, right? Because if we have the plan B, then we will always have an excuse to run away from our own mission, right? And we, in the process, we don't give those tests, we don't appear on those tests which are required for us to be seen as an extraordinary performer. So it's always a choice. Ecosystem is giving us a choice. It is our decision whether we succumb to our space of concern or we still keep performing at our space of accountability. And I think from there only this statement has come, कि तेरी आवाज पे कोई ना आए, तो फिर एकला चलो रे, which essentially means that even if you have zero space of influence on any other human being, at least have space of influence on your own body and your own mind, and keep walking alone. Because keeping when you keep walking alone, the second stage of leadership comes, which says, मैं अकेला ही चला था जानिबे मंजिल मगर लोग जुड़ते ही गए कारवां बनता गया. So this karma, this group, this organization will not form, people will not subscribe to your mission of life unless you yourself subscribe to it 100%. It is the degree of your own commitment towards your mission which creates the pull factor and space of influence on other human beings. I hope this answers your question in detail.
So, Guruji, you're saying it is a leap of faith that one has to take. Like when one goes for a bungee jumping or for something, it's the last push that you give yourself to plunge into it, and there's no reversal after that. Is that what you're saying? We need to be committed 100%.
Faith is something to start with, not to end with. As rightly said by one of our speakers today, I think Jayaraman ji, that instead of taking faith-based decisions, we should learn to take decisions based on internal inquiry. Right? Faith means you don't know and you are not even curious to know. But inquiry means even if you are not aware of something, you are still inquiring. And when you keep inquiring, so again there is a saying, खुद ही को कर बुलंद इतना कि हर तब्दील से पहले खुदा बंदे से खुद पूछे बता तेरी रजा क्या है. So if you keep giving yourself that escape velocity which can launch your rocket into space, then even God will come to you and ask, okay, I am at your service. What should I do? Right? So all these things, all these good values are tested for a soul's refinement. जैसे एक हिंदी में कहावत है कि अग्नि में तपने के बाद ही सोना कुंदन बनता है. Similarly, the soul has to pass through these tests to actually become self-realized. And as mentioned in Bhagavad Gita also, that हजारों में कोई एक ही आत्मज्ञान के लिए प्रयास करता है और उन हजारों प्रयास करने वालों में भी कोई एक ही उसको समझता है और वहां पहुंच पाता है. So test is tough. It's not impossible, but yes, it is tough. ये आग का दरिया है और डूबते जाना है.
Yes, I agree with your statement, Hitesh ji. And one suggestion I want from you in this regard. This time is very much challenging. I notice children, they are changing. They become more selfish and their ambition is totally changed. They become apart from the study, they want to do some another things for recreations or for what they want to do. So this time I also have lost my motivation, my inspiration too. So I need suggestion how to motivate them to understand the differences between self and non-self. Not to become selfish. Non-self is very much urgent to save our environment. Today is the World Environment Day. And this day I want this suggestion from you.
So you're asking for your kids or you're a teacher and you're asking for students?
General, yes. In general, I am asking.
Okay. So actually it is very easy to understand that obviously a demotivated person will not be able to motivate others. So anything that you want to do to others, you have to first test that on your own human machine. Then only the space of influence will grow. So if other people, even the kids, are not understanding us, then we need to understand that it is our lack of space of influence on them. They are not sufficiently influenced from us because actions speak louder than words. They are not just listening to our words, they are looking towards and observing our actions. So if we demonstrate them that we also follow what we preach, then probably the chances of learning and getting influenced is higher.
In my entire career, first time I am understanding this. First time I am feeling this.
Thank you.
Because we are getting more difficult.
Yeah,
to awake the children.
We are passing globally. We are passing through a very tough time.
Yes, they listen and they will involve in the mobile and other things and forget all.
Yeah. So many times what happens is we try to shoot the wrong aim. Right. Just now that you have said about mobile and all, So I'm not judging it, but just taking a clue from it, that any pinpointing, finger pointing to kids to use or not use mobile is like as if we have heard that in our Shastra that kids should not use mobile. See, initially, if you see in the ancient world, we had 10% automation and 90% manual work, right? So generations were trained to learn the 10% machine interaction and 90% human to human interaction. So all the value system, all the processes, all the systems were made based on those facts. But now we are living in an entirely changed world, wherein our own generation, we were interacting at least 30 to 40% with the machines and rest 60 to 70% with the human beings. But our next generation is further changing. In fact, the rate of obsolescence is becoming higher. So it's like they are interacting 80% with the machine and 20% with the human beings, which may ultimately result into eventually a situation wherein human to human interaction may remain only 1% and there will be 99% human to machine interaction. So first of all, saying that if children are using machines, it is bad, right? It may have its own side effects due to the overuse of that, but they must learn to use the machines. Otherwise, they will not be at par with the changing times. Secondly,
so only, yes.
Yeah,
Pardon,
secondly, we cannot be preacher to anyone and everyone. Unless there is a space of influence created in their heart, our words to them should not be prescriptive, right? Best advices, best mentoring happens when you advise and let the person decide, right? They are all, even if they have born from our biological body, right? We don't own them. We don't own even our own children. See it from the spiritual angle that a soul has chosen our bodies to manifest about human life and proceed with its own soul journey, right? And this is where the ancient scriptures are also indicating that don't get attached, right? Even Arjuna asked this question. He was in the same dilemma in Bhagavad Gita, that all these people that you are asking me to kill are my own family members, right? How could I kill them? How could I kill my gurus? How could I fight with my own family members? Because he was seeing it with the body consciousness or the heart consciousness. He was altogether missing the space of accountability and the principle of transcendence. And this is where Krishna had to remind him that you have to work based on your accountability and not with the attachment. Then Arjuna asked that I can understand what you are saying. It sounds good. But due to the fickle-mindedness of my mind, I am not able to fully realize it. Then Krishna had to use that verse, Asanchayam Mahabaho Mano Duni Graham Chalam Abhyasentu Konte Vairagyencha Grihat. He has given two tools that this fickle-mindedness can be tackled by Abhyas and Vairagya, right? So we have stopped practicing these two tools, Abhyas and Vairagya, and we start seeing other human beings as related to us instead of seeing them as an independent souls who are on their own soul path, right? So if we go to them with that command that we own them, then likelihood of their accepting the same will become low, right? So just give the advice. The tone should be in the form of an advice and let the soul decide whether they want to follow it or not, because ultimately they will follow, get the consequences. Right? Don't get worried by the consequences that your relatives or your people or your kids will get. It's their own soul path. Just keep advising. That's it. That's the role that we can play.
Of
right?
course.
So that will give you some relief and you also get motivated. And there is a verse, chapter 247 verse, Karmanya Vadikaraste Mafaleshu Kadachana. It's a very famous verse of Bhagavad Gita, that we have the right to do our duty. But the results are not in our hand. Let the God decide the prarabdha. Okay, so just do your duty towards them. Don't get attached. And you will see a substantial change in the space of influence. It's like the space of influence is like flying a kite. You cannot always just pull it. several times you have to let it go. Right? These are the two forces working in the ecosystem, pull and push. So if you pull them too hard, they will come down.
Actually, sir, in general, if we want to say in general, in most of the people, the feeling of self is more strengthened than the non-self. This is also a very strong point, how we can forward or move forward towards Yug Parivartan. So please work on this also, sir. How to generate non-self among the people.
How to generate
non-self feeling, non-self.
Non-self.
Yes.
And what do you mean by that? Non-self?
No selfishness.
Oh, no selfishness. So again, I would again say the same thing, that let's be, before we become non-selfish, let us become non-judgmental.
Yes.
Right. So when we start judging people, they will start getting repelled from us. Right. If you really want to pull people towards you, then develop the habit of being non-judgmental. Because unless there is a final
we
word
have to work on this also.
Right. So unless there is a final word of God, which is accepted by the entire humanity, all these value systems are subjective and contextual. Right. And that's why you cannot force too much on it. And this is the environment we have created in Project Yug Parivartan. So I keep getting this frequently asked question that several people come to PYP fold and then they leave in between. So why don't you stop them? So I keep reminding them that the answer to this is the pull factor. If somebody is pulled towards PYP, then only we are valuable for them and they are valuable for us. Otherwise, pushing them too hard won't make sense. And it will anyways not be a test of a self-actualized person. Right? My funda is very clear that the best advice is when mentors advise, leaders decide. I will just teach them the space of accountability. I will teach them the method of increasing the space of influence. I can teach them the method to reduce the space of concern. But ultimately, they have to decide whether they succumb to their space of concern or they keep fighting for their space of accountability. Their choice. Okay. Yes, Praveenji.
Dr. John DeMartini says that, one has to live by his highest three values in life, highest purpose. Is that equivalent of our accountability? That we may be, actually wanting to live by our values, but concerns, immediate concerns are, diverting your attention to something which is lowly.
Yes. It again can be understood through a common sense only. Imagine a situation wherein a person has no space of concern and there is abundance of space of influence, right? And everyone understands their space of accountability. What would be the fun of having such a life, right? So God has designed it very well. The space of concern will never become zero. The space of influence will never become absolute, right? And the space of accountability will remain infinite, right? So space of accountability means that how much you can account for, right? In Hinduism, there is a concept of Chitragupta who keeps noting our records, right? That you are supposed to do this, you have not done this. So it's like matching the performance with the expectations. Right. So we cannot judge our performance unless we know all the expectations. So what is expected out of us from this human life? Right. This expectation is unlimited, infinite. Hari anant, hari katha ananta. ऐसे ही उत्तरदायित्व भी अनंत है, infinite है. Now it is up to you. What is your ability of accounting how much you own it? You can own at the best case scenario, you can own everything. Every problem on this planet is your accountability. Right? Again, same principle. तेरी आवाज पे कोई ना आए, तो फिर अकेला चलो रे. Even if nobody is helping you, even if you have all the space of concern in your life, even if you have zero influence in your life, your space of accountability is constant and it doesn't change. And cause and effect principle functions based on space of accountability only. And this exactly is the message that Bhagavad Gita is trying to, like Krishna is trying to explain to Arjuna. Karmanyavadikaraste, you are accountable for your actions, not for the effect. Okay.
So working on our highest accountability, is that the path to liberation? And working on concerns is something which is bandhan, कि आपको ये जन्म मरण कर आते रहो जाते रहो यही करते रहो. यहाँ उससे निकलना है तो यही रास्ता है कि भाई अपनी highest accountability पहचानो और फिर that will take you towards beyond time space. यहाँ आप time space में ही बंधे रहो.
Yeah, that's the choice every soul is getting. If you want to live like a bound soul, your choice. If you want to live like a liberated soul, again, your choice. There are methods, there are documentation for both of them. There is a literature and gyan available, which tells you what bounds you to the sansar. And there is a literature and gyan available, which helps you in liberation as well. So again, it's a like buffet. What you choose is your choice, right? So you can choose liberation or you can choose the ignorance, right? So all those people who understand it, at least they reach up to S5. They are the ones who have the strong craving to reach to the S6 level, which is the level of liberation.
So my question is, आज नहीं कल, इस जन्म नहीं किसी जन्म में जो पथ अकाउंटेबिलिटी को बढ़ाने वाला पथ है वो ही हमें लिबरेट करने की तरफ लेके जाएगा. Whether it is this lifetime or any lifetime, we have to go through that path of enhancing our responsibility towards the universal issues.
Correct. So there is again one verse in Bhagavad Gita which says कि बहुत जन्म के अंत के जन्म में यह आत्मज्ञान आत्मा अपने आप में स्वयं ही प्राप्त कर लेती है. Which means after the infinite number of births and death, right? Finally, the soul gets to the self-realization. So what happens in this case is that in every life, the soul keeps learning. Right? If you learn without the guru, the learning will remain slow, but the learning will continue. As there is a saying that life is the best teacher. So life keeps teaching us the lessons even without a mentor, without a guru. But just like seeing a monument without a guide versus seeing it with a guide makes a lot of difference. If you hire a guide, you will learn more about the monument and you will learn faster. Similarly, in the journey of Atmagyan, if you keep the guide, if you keep the guru, if you keep the seer with you, you will learn faster. The number of lives and deaths in which finally you will learn will reduce. You learn early. So again, this is a choice. You can have mentor, you can be Nigura, and without guru, you can continue.
Can I?
Yes, please.
It's a very interesting thing, what I have been discussing. I find in my analysis, in fact, I have made about 10 episodes, including transition to green economy, IMF on a bigger scale, and as well as MSMEs. In MSMEs is a policy, they are come out with the policy, and most of them are suffering. Most of the MSMEs, about 110 million people. The coordination between MSMEs and the big companies do not bother about anything. But we got to do something about how the MSMEs are being brought up so that it becomes easier, particularly when I find this industry, government and society, like a plane. Government is in the center, one wing is industry, other wing is the society. I find that when you say the society, they feel for it, government feel for it. They come out with a lot of the regulations, a lot of restrictions, but industry does not bother. When I analyzed about this consumer subsidy and the producer subsidy, the producer subsidy for fossil fuel is in trillions, and consumer subsidy is also in trillions because they can't do anything. But producer subsidy, they do not want to reduce their total amount. This is a short-sighted policy. Unless the society is being taken care, and we are in a position to give back to the society. It is impossible for the industry to develop. It is a self-destructing thing that they are doing. That's why when I say 500 people or 500,000 people in your company, make it aware that GCHW is going to help you as a company. Because in future, I don't see companies. I see the individuals who are going to come to the top, and they will run the one IPR. It's not going to be that if I had joined the IBM, my IPR would have gone to them. They might have made billions, but I would be left with nothing. So this is the important aspect of what I'm expecting. If the industry is not going to give up, the plane is in the tarmac with the society. It cannot take off. And to take it off and fly in the sky, a lot of things has to be done with the industry. They have a lot of money, and they are not ready to bring about a change. The change of the denominator. Don't make us so there's about 20 or 50 vice presidents, the managers. There are about 500,000 people within your company. If you are not going to attend to those 500,000 people, you will never be able to take off. That's why the sustainability of the efficiency will give you profits, but sustainability of value system alone will give the profits and growth. Sustainability of profits. I'm very particular that value system must come. Your defined value system, I'm ready to collaborate with you for any company, for any government, any this thing. How the self-actualized persons that you are going to bring about, 1:1,000 is a wonderful idea. And if 1,000 people or 1,000 companies, I would rather say, are being brought into limelight, is going to be very, very useful for society as a whole. Otherwise, society, as I said, is a industrial waste as on today. Nobody bothers about it. Something has to be done, and that should come from the industrial leaders. That's what I feel.
Perfectly said, Jayaraman ji. And this is where these value system, and you have rightly mentioned about defined values. So we keep saying in various forums that the ecosystem doesn't function based on our value system or our interpretation of value system. For each and every action, the Newton's law is not calculated at runtime. Every action has equal and opposite reaction is already built into the ecosystem, and it is just reflect back based on our actions. So if we try to fool that or cheat that, we are actually cheating ourselves, right? So ecosystem works based on the defined value, right? For each and every action, the value of the effect is already defined through cause and effect principle. Now, to arrive at those defined values, we have to get the defined values consultations, right? Through advices, through consultation, through the gurus, through the mentors, we need to learn to derive those defined values. No preaching. Only derivation based on crystal clear rational logic. This is what was missing in the education system since several centuries and millenniums. And I can repeat that statement which Krishna made in Arjuna, that this yoga, this knowledge of the rational spiritual intelligence was told to the sun. And from there it was continued in generation over generation. And then it was lost in transit. And Krishna had to remind Arjuna during the Mahabharata about those values. Similarly, after the Mahabharata, these values, this yoga knowledge is again lost. And now is the time it is recovering once again. So whenever it reaches to a drastic situation, then Yug Parivartan level change is required. So there was a project Yug Parivartan during Mahabharata times, and the next project Yug Parivartan is right in front of us, right? We all are avatars, right? It's not that Krishna was some extraterrestrial being. He was a human being in S6 consciousness, right? And this is what we can also recover, we can also get. So we need thousands of such Krishnas, lakhs of such Krishnas or S6 people to act as Messiah into the lives of people by thinking beyond the boundaries of these profit-based systems. Because these profit-based systems have shrinked our vision. These profits do not understand that the entire impact on the ecosystem, what impact is going. So this is one way of measuring. I would rather say that in the new world order, the profit system itself should go away. We don't need to make profits. right? Let us make the economy rather than profits. And the right definition of economy is utilizing the resources of this planet in the best possible way, most optimized way to provide an integrated service to every human being and other species on this planet. If we are not able to accept that as the definition of economy, then we will keep patting our back for illusionary economic parameters like first largest economy of the world, second largest economy of the world. It doesn't make any sense. Why we are competing on them? Economy doesn't need competition. Economy needs collaboration, oneness. And this is what we are imbibing in the design of PYP Wise Cities model. We'll discuss more about it when we interact face-to-face or one-to-one in creating a bridge between your innovation and Project Yug Parivartan. And we are keeping it very flexible, very like loosely coupled, that people will have their own independence, their own IPRs, their own systems to help the humanity. Right. So we'll discuss more.
May only one word I would like to say. You know, a rule expresses the truth and justifies the conduct. We have enough rules, but we do not know whether the conduct is being done or not. So the companies, individuals, how they conduct. So our knowledge base of how they conduct themselves is zero. This is what we have to bring it. If only we are able to do that, I'm doing a simple rating system. Okay? If you are able to do that, well and good. Thank you.
Yeah, in fact, you are right. Instead of imposing rule, it's like motivate them to play nicely and tell them this is how it works. And then create a pull factor through which you don't need to put too much pressure on them. And
not
yet,
the pressure. And in fact, in cream, this thing, there must be rules like management quality. Management quality is very important in the automobile industry. Hundreds of rules are there. It is not being followed. You took at the food and beverage system, hundreds of rules are there. So these are all very important, and they have done well with the TKM and other things. But in terms of whether it is being followed or not, it is inevitable. It has to be checked. I give only as I said, insider trading, or various aspects of areas of qualitative elements that have to be checked, that have to be seen whether they follow the rules.
Yeah,
I'm not talking in terms of rules.
Implementation of rules. Rules will always be there. There are 3 layers of rules. One is called as eternal principles, which apply all across the universe in a similar fashion. Then second layer of rules is called as natural laws, which apply to a particular planet. And third level of rules are created by the leaders of the world. Now, a human being has to perform under the guidance of these 3 rules. Now, how much compliance he will do will depend upon how much conscious he is. So this is where
it should not be left to them. We got to give, and particularly once the rule is accepted, they got to provide an information how they are following the rules. It's very important.
Correct.
Otherwise, if you by census and they get angry, 90% of the people are ordinary people. They will get a feedback telling the rule is being followed, and these are the guys, we individual guys. We are talking about the Usain Bolts within a company when we are going to rate the individuals as such. Those who are following the rules.
So there is a different level of implementation for different level of evolution. There are 4 eternal ways of influencing other human beings, and these are documented in the ancient literature as Sam, Dam, Dand, and Bhed, which means Sam is mentoring, Dam is rewarding, and Dand is called as deterrence, and Bhed is called as secret. So people who are evolved up to S1 and S2 level, they can only be aligned with the overall ecosystem through Dandaniti. People in S3 and S4 can be aligned through Damniti. People in S5 can be aligned just by mentoring them. If they get the right mentoring, they will comply. And people who are in S6 consciousness, they are anyway surrendered to the Almighty and the principles, and his human machine manifests the avatar. Right? So we'll explain more about it in the other forums. Okay. Yes, Praveen, you wanted to ask something, and Umeshji also wanted to ask something. So let's go to Umeshji first. Umeshji, yes. Umesh Sejikanji, please ask your question.
Yeah, thank you. Very nice discussion. I'm just going through this, and in fact, I had a privilege of listening to you about the same topic a number of times. Yes, still there are certain times some concerns are there, and normally I ask, very frank questions to you also. My point is now the overall Project Yuga Parvartan, what you have been telling is it is the requirement in the present world, and there is no other go. It is a 100% acceptable thing. But to achieve that, your efforts are there. You are as a lone person, you are taken up a big mission. But only one thing I'm not finding, for the last I'm associated with you since about 8 months plus. I have been trying from my side, whatever you are, because I'm firm 100% in agreement with you that Yuga Parvartan should take place, come what may. But the thing is, this Yuga Parvartan has to be done with a team of people, of the great, the people, realized people. They only can do it. But I have been touching about probably about 400-500 people and more than that, because with my various, maybe 1,000 people. But hardly I could able to find very few people, maybe about 1 or 2% people, which I could able to bring him to the fold in spite of several discussion with them. Only they say, how is it possible? How is this present series? They have got everything is completely, they got so much negative induction has happened because of the things happening both in India and abroad. But how to remove that? That is the biggest question. And secondly, I have been noticing whoever comes for our seminar, anything, I have conducted 4-5 myself also in Bangalore. They commit what I am going to gain. That is their motto. Most of the thing what I'm finding, whether they will think of their materialistic position or this. I told him, you are in Yuga Parvartan, you will not get for anything. But you will have a platform to, unleash your inner consciousness, where you will be useful for the society. You will know about the purpose of your life, and you will be able to do something great things to our nation as a global. This is the message I'm giving you. But this is what, in spite of your all problems, I used to tell, see that this particular vision, you take it you tell me how to motivate them into that level. And how many SLDP graduates so far trained by you are really very serious with this, because when they do the graduation, they should have been in the level of S5, S6 only. How many people are really, I'm not finding that much of people in this fold. Thank you, sir.
Good question. Good question. And I am glad that you have tasted the pudding and have understood the gravity of situation, that it's not easy even to create one follower, right? Even if you see the performance of Vashisht, Chanakya, and even Vedavyas and Krishna, how many followers were there during their time, right? So it may happen that people may not easily accept it. And that's where your leadership potential will be tested. कि तेरी आवाज पे कोई ना आए तो फिर एकला चलो रे. They may be waiting for your consistency. If the person who is heading a state in PYP is losing hope in 8 months, then other people will have the directly proportional effect, right? So no matter what the response you are receiving from the people, if you are internally satisfied and clear that you are on the right path, then don't worry about the numbers. Think about the quality, right? It may be possible we are searching the Yug Pravartaks in S1 to S4 people. Maybe we are yet to reach to the S5s, real S5s, right? Where there is a plethora of options available to us. So wait for that right moment. 8 months is nothing. I'm here since 11 years, right? We are celebrating 11th year of the PYP conception, right? So just believe in the process, believe in the ideology, believe in the vision, and keep working. It will happen. It's not easy fruit that will come our way, right? Karmanya vadikaraste. Keep reminding yourself of Karmanya vadikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. And secondly, Bhagavad Gita itself says, abhi maine bola, out of 1,000 people, only one crave to be an S5 and S6. And out of those 1,000 S5s, only one will reach to the S6. So the test is really tough as you move in the higher Chitta Bhumi. So why do we want to create shortcuts? Let it happen on its own course. Yes, Pravinji.
Out of 1,000, there will be 1,000,000 who will think that they are moving towards S6. So in line with what Jayaraman sir said, sir, sir, Chennai, Namaskaram. Sir, ironically, influence is getting shrunk to a very small percentage of people on earth. Influence in terms of resource. We all talk about it. 1% of the world population owning 95% of the world resources. Now, these are the people who have to understand accountability. If this is what even
no, they will not. They will not understand.
And
what I found is that
I'll just complete my thought.
Yeah.
We expect that the people who are at the bottom of the pyramid, who have a lot of concerns to address, should also bear the brunt of the accountability for the planet. We all preach to only that segment, जिनका अपने कंसर्न से ही जूझते हुए उनका जीवन व्यतीत हो रहा है. तो ये इन्फ्लुएंस जिनके पास है, इनको कैसे, like sir also said, the concern is there. The S4s, how do we make them understand that hoarding a whole lot of resource and influence is of no consequence? Neither are they progressing in their life, and they are a deterrent, holding and hoarding resource.
Correct.
So इसको address कैसे करें?
So it's very clear from what we have learned in SALDP. The answer can be derived, and that's where I keep saying that you can derive any answer to any question in this world if you practice the SALDP principles. So first is, if we are not able to influence these people, it means our own influence is much lesser than them. We have not put enough efforts to raise our influence level so that we come neck to neck with them, and with the eyes to eyes contact, we can tell them what is right. Okay. Second thing is, they may want it, their soul may want it, but no resource is reaching there. So they are also fine, right? It's not that this influence has gone into their hands due to their own expertise only. It is due to the lack of incompetencies of the remaining 99% of the people that the equation has become what it is today. Right? We cannot just blame them for the deterioration of the world. It's a principle. Then when leaders fail to lead, ordinary people are forced to lead. Then why they are not leading? There is an opportunity to lead at every situation in life. Even if we have zero resource and we are put into an island where there is nothing to eat, even then there is an opportunity to lead. So are we really exercising those opportunities which are coming our way? Are we not in a much better situation than being in a jungle, in an island where there is no resource? We are actually not understanding the resources that we already have, right? We are not practicing SALDP level 2 and influencing the resources that we already have. Invite even those 1% of the people. And I take this challenge, if nobody on this planet has ever succeeded in influencing this 1% of the people, there is one more candidate who is ready to do that. All these people are nothing but S4s, right? And there is a stimulus which an S4 is waiting to reach to the S5. There is a stimulus, there is a path for S5s to reach to the S6. Maybe they are not aware of it. So as soon as they are aware of it and they become curious, then the curiosity, you don't know the value of curiosity. Curiosity, the value of curiosity is such high that a person can leave everything else just to satisfy the curiosity. And this is exactly what has happened behind all the transformers, all the reformers. They have become internally curious to know the answers of life. All these people who are like, these days I keep hearing about that they are buying bunkers to safeguard themselves and their families against any natural disaster or a man-made disaster or a nuclear conflict, right? So they in their limited thinking, this is the only option that they have. But maybe we have better options than them. We can tell them. We can inject that thought into their mind. So I'm not losing heart. I'm very clear.
So
Think like a Vishwaguru. Think like a Vishwaguru. This is the maximum potential every human being is carrying.
I believe individuals' avatars can definitely create another Big Bang, another universe. That is a capability, as I said this evening, is amazing capability. And we are not utilizing it all. So it is possible, definitely.
We have a nucleus. We can be that nuclear bomb in the right way, nuclear bomb of a wisdom. Let us spread this. Let us create a ripple effect, cascaded effect all over the world. And it's not just big talks. We are working day and night to convert these talks, these visions into reality. And this summit itself is an outcome of some ground already covered. Of course, there is a long way to go. We have chosen a very big mission, right? It will take its own time. It will take its own space and resources. But that's the way we can proceed. We cannot close and complete the scope of Project Yug Parivartan in one day. My Atma has taken several lives to arrive at this understanding. Correct. How would it do that with just in a jiffy, with a magic?
Quite true.
Right? We have to do that into a completely humanly way. No occult powers, directly the power of wisdom. One person's wisdom can change the world. So we still have 2 more days wherein we can come up with more serious questions. And I hope today's session could act as a trailer for the next 2 days, and more people can participate in the discussions and in asking questions. We missed some regular panelists today who are always curious to ask questions directly from me, and they keep challenging me to conduct more candid conversations. And it's only due to the paucity of time that I could not do that. But yes, I take that challenge too. And we will keep this candid conversation as a regular affair in Project Yug Parivartan. So thanks a lot. Thanks everyone. पहले ही दिन से point of no return cross करके चले हैं, तो इसलिए पीछे मुड़ने का तो कोई सवाल ही नहीं है. Okay, so over to you, Praveen ji, for completing today's session with a formal vote of thanks to all our panelists and our speakers today.
One moment. Okay, thank you, Guruji. Honorable Chief Mentor, Hitesh Chandel ji, Honorable Guest Speakers of the day, dearest team members and most valued audience, pleasant greetings to this wonderful gathering. I, Praveen Mehra, integral team member of Project Yug Parivartan Synergy platform, feel privileged to propose a vote of thanks. First and foremost, we thank the Lord Almighty who has designed and refreshed our souls with a sweet stream of blessings. Thank you, Lord. We express our gratitude to our Honorable Guruji, Chief Mentor Hitesh Chandel ji, to organize such a wonderful event on this virtual platform as part of Project Yug Parivartan. His incredible leadership, timely and proper advice, and the freedom in decision-making provided to us with the opportunity to conduct the summit. We have been fortunate enough to have eminent persons from different regions to share the views on the need and design of the golden world order for Satyug. First, I mention our deep sense of appreciation for Ms. Nidhi Behl Vats ji, whose simple advices for common people can bring a great change in the microcosmic and macrocosmic world and contribute in a big way to achieve the objectives of the golden world order or wise world order. The special emphasis on reducing diversity and creating oneness is totally in line with the objectives of Project Yug Parivartan Synergy platform. Ma'am, we look forward for your collaboration with Project Yug Parivartan Synergy platform. Further, we are grateful to Sri Jayaraman Rajah Iyer ji for very strong points which are very deep and touching. The scientific pointers to manifest the avatars is what is needed for the world to understand. By upgrading themselves from faith-based decision-making to internal inquiry-based understanding of the world, we can no more afford to choose either science or spirituality. Time has come for everyone to accept both. I would also like to express our sincere thanks to Sri Patanjali Jaji for reminding us about the drastic consequences of climate change, which most of the people of the world are aware about these days, and yet behaving in a manner as if nothing has happened and everything is all right. We look forward to restoring our forests and make this planet a natural habitat for humanity instead of increasing concrete jungles, which are no more sustainable. A collaboration between Vanya Organics and PYP Synergy platform will surely take us towards solutions. Last but not the least, our fourth speaker of the day, Sri Tarachand Belji, has been instrumental in relating the farm produce with the 5 natural elements of nature and making sure that we realize Tattva Gyan and scientific phenomena behind the farm productivity. We look forward to create a collaboration between his way of farming with the Project Yug Parivartan system. Hearty gratitude to all speakers who generously accepted our invitation, spared their precious time from busy schedules, and share their valuable knowledge and expertise with us. Thank you, dear sirs and ma'am. I hope all participants today would have gained a lot of insights into the deep subject of an ideal or utopian world order, which is urgently needed to be established before it becomes difficult for anyone to do anything substantial to save the humanity from the clutches of dark age. I'm sure that the upcoming days of the summit will bring a lot of value to every participant's life. We invite all speakers and audience to join hands with Project Yug Parivartan Synergy Platform. With this, I would like to hand you over back to Chief Mentor Hitesh Chandel ji to inform the audience about the agenda of tomorrow's sessions and then formally close today's session. We look forward to your continued participation in the next 3 days of the summit as well. Thank you, one and all.
Thanks, Praveen ji, for the wonderful vote of thanks. And this is what we have planned for tomorrow. Just like the 2 days, the third day is also full of a lot of insight about the golden world order that we want to create. We'll have a 15 minutes meditation on Project Yug Parivartan Synergy to start with and the setting of the context, followed by a 45-minute session by Ms. Chinmay Praveen, who is the strategic head of Gavin Watchstom organization. Then 5 p.m. to 5:45, we'll have a session by Dr. Yugandhar, who is the founder of the World United and in his own way creating the new world order or the golden world order. Then a session from 5:45 to 6:30 by Guru Mitresh Shivaji, Coimbatore-based Guruji, who has added a lot of value to thousands of people's life. So he will share his view about the golden world order. And then from 6:30 to 7:15, we will have a session by Dr. Keshav Chandra Mandal, who is a renowned author, researcher, and educationist. Then we will have a repeat of what we have done today, a candid conversation with myself, wherein you can ask any questions, especially the most serious ones that are troubling the lives of people. We can ask all those questions during this candid conversation, followed by the vote of thanks and closure of the summit. So almost 15 more sessions coming your way to empower your souls with the ideas of creating the golden world order. And we look forward to everyone who is participating to join Project Yug Parivartan Synergy platform. So with this, let us mark the formal closure to today's session. Sabhi ko namaskar. Looking forward to see you tomorrow. Bye for now.